month of July on a charge of murder.
The hitman was sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Applications for evidence to be heard behind closed doors during the Commission of Inquiry into Corruption in the criminal justice system will not be easily granted. During a briefing in Sandton yesterday, Commission Chairperson Vuyiseli Madlanga emphasized he would not easily entertain such applications. The Commission, established by the President, will be probing allegations made public by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi earlier this month. Oren Singh reports.
While certain evidence will be considered sensitive, specifically that relating to state security and crime intelligence, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the criminal justice system will not easily grant applications for evidence to be heard in camera. Yesterday, the Commission's chair, Vuyiseli Madlanga, held a briefing in Sandton outlining that their work is at a very early stage, with a date for the start of the Commission not yet determined.
I will look very closely at each and every application, especially with regard to serious allegations like those that we have before us. So I will not readily just close access.
The Commission will file 2 reports to President Cyril Ramaphosa, one after 3 months and the second after 6 months. Aryan Singh, Eyewitness News.
The Basic Education Department has condemned the alleged corporal punishment of a learner at an Eastern Cape school. The principal of Osborne Senior Secondary School has been suspended after an image of the matriculate's injured hand was shared widely on social media. It's alleged the learner was beaten for failing to pay for a school trip. Lukhanyo Vanga speaks for the Minister of Basic Education.
I want to start off by placing on record that Minister Sivuyo Gwafule condemns in the harshest terms any use of corporal punishment or physical violence as a disciplinary tool in any school environment. We don't agree with such an approach.
Vanga says corporal punishment is still prevalent at schools in a number of provinces.
Unfortunately, according to Stats SA and its latest General Household Survey, we have seen that corporal punishment in our schools nationally stands at just over 6.9% of learners are reporting to have experienced physical violence or verbal abuse in schools.
And in the United States, New York Mayor Eric Adams has revised the death toll following a shooting at a Manhattan building. Adams says 5 people were shot in the attack in Midtown, 4 of whom have died. He says one of those who died was an NYPD officer. A press conference was held at the scene this morning shortly after police cleared the area. Adams confirmed the suspect, identified as Shane Tamura, died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. He says gun violence remains a major concern in New York.
We lost 4 souls to another senseless act of gun violence, including a member of the New York City Police Department, Officer Islam. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city. He embodies what this city is all about. He's a true blue New Yorker, not only in the uniform he wore, but in his spirit and energy.
Gold is trading at $3,320.95 an ounce. The rand is at 17.91 to the dollar, 23.89 to the pound, 20.72 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.05 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident reported in the Sandton area. This one is along Catherine Street, right after Greyston Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please try to avoid that one while traveling towards Midrand. Another accident seen on the N1 North, right near New Road. Delays from Allendale Road.
Clear skies in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures peaking at highs of 18 degrees across the province. The top story in EWN, murder accused Tiffany Nicole Meek will know today if she will be released on bail.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
What are the matters that matter to you?
702 listens.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Great to have you with us here on 702. I trust you will have a wonderful, wonderful day vandag. 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial on the 702 open line. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. You're welcome to also send us your comments on the 702 YouTube page. If you are one of those that are watching and listening to us at the same time right now, then you can just post your comments there on the 702 YouTube page, and I will read them as well on the 702 open line. Remember, very easy. If you want to watch what's happening in studio right now, you just go to the 702 YouTube page. Google that, follow that link, and it will take you straight to the YouTube page where you can just watch and all of our interviews. In fact, the entire show is on YouTube. When the mayor joins us at 10 o'clock as well, you can choose to watch that on that platform too. Have you seen the starvation that's underway in Gaza? Have you seen how children have been affected? People are dying as a result of malnutrition. The United Nations has raised concerns. The World Health Organization also warned that malnutrition in Gaza is at alarming levels. In fact, the total number of malnutrition-related deaths since the new wave of the war began is now at 147. That includes 88 children. This is according to the health ministry there in Gaza. Israel, which controls the entry of all supplies in Gaza, has denied that there's starvation in Gaza and rejected accusations of being responsible for food shortages. And yet, when you look at Israel, it's the one that has imposed a total blockade on the territory. I think it was in March, earlier this year, in March. And that was partially lifted in May. And only a trickle of aid has been allowed to enter since then, despite warnings from the United Nations and aid organizations that there is mass starvation in Gaza.
The 2.1 million people trapped in the war zone that is Gaza are facing yet another killer on top of bombs and bullets: starvation. We're now witnessing a deadly surge in malnutrition-related deaths. The hunger crisis is being accelerated by the collapse of aid pipelines and restrictions on access.
That's what the United Nations says. But guess what Israel says about what's unfolding in Gaza? They don't believe there's starvation.
There is no starvation in Gaza, no policy of starvation in Gaza, and I assure you that we have a commitment to achieve our war goals. We'll continue to fight till we achieve the release of our hostages and the destruction of Hamas's military and governing capabilities. They shall be there no more. We shall not have any more of these massacres. We shall not have any more of these monstrosities. We stand for human freedom and human life, and that is not commensurate with Hamas or with Iran, other Iranian proxies. We have fought this battle together. We shall win it together.
That's what Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, says. So you've heard the United Nations confirms, the World Health Organization and other aid organizations have seen mass starvation in Gaza. Israel says there's no starvation there. It's beyond comprehension that Israel would claim that there's no starvation in Gaza when everybody can see for themselves. Even U.S. President Donald Trump disagrees with Benjamin Netanyahu. Even he himself can see that Gaza is experiencing real starvation.
It's going to be working with the United States. We'll be helping with the food. We have a lot of access to food. We got a lot of food ourselves. And we're going to bring it over there. We're also going to make sure that they don't have barriers stopping people. You've seen the areas where they actually have food, and the people are screaming for the food, and they're 35, 40 yards away. and they won't let them because they have lines that are set up. And whether they're set up by Hamas or whoever, but they're very strict lines, so we have to get rid of those lines. But we're going to be getting some good, strong food. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that. So we're going to be even more involved. We did some airlifts before, some airdrops, and the people are running for it. And the Prime Minister is going to help us. They're very effective with that. You've done that before, and for many, they've done that for 100 years very well. So it's not very hard to do, actually.
So even the United Nations sees that, and they want to do more to try and deal with the humanitarian crisis there. And of course, the UN always reminds us that Israel is the one that decides when and how much of the food enters Gaza. But as you've heard, Israel denies being responsible for famine. Now, following outrage and, of course, condemnation of Israel over the starvation in Gaza, Israel over the weekend decided to allow more aid into Gaza in the form of airdrops and military pauses to allow for food convoys to reach people. And even with that, the United Nations says what's been delivered so far over this weekend was just a drop in the ocean of what was required, because there have been months in which far little aid has reached Gaza. I mean, have you seen the visuals of malnourished children in Gaza? Have you seen the videos of children crying and desperate for food as helicopters were airdropping food to Palestinians? And then Israel tells you there's no starvation, when even the entire world can see that there is. I mean, Israel is losing support even among its allies. The Democrats in the U.S., listen to what they are saying. They seem to be turning their back against Israel. Israel is now losing Republicans. More and more Republicans are saying it's time to wrap it up. Israel is losing its standing with the rest of the world, and it still has confidence to do as it pleases. Where does it get the confidence to go against the world from? What's happening in Gaza is devastating, especially for those young children who have nothing to do with this war. So when you get a moment, just share a prayer for especially the children in Gaza. 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. At 10 o'clock, we're going to be in conversation with the Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero. This is part of the check-in we are doing with several mayors. We started with the Ekurhuleni Mayor, Nkosi Gaza. Then we brought in the Mayor of Tshwane, Dr. Nasipi Moya. Today we're bringing you the Mayor of Johannesburg in studio. You can watch this conversation as YouTube as well. As I've said, we have done this series before where we bring the mayors to come and engage with you as the citizens of their metros. So today is the opportunity of the Johannesburg Mayor. So you can raise the issues you have with the mayor, concerns that you have in your metros, and they can also update you on their service delivery programs and their coalitions and whether or not they're still stable. So today the focus is on Johannesburg. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our World of Work feature. Today we're doing a mid-year check-in. Are your career plans or professional goals still on track? Over 80% of people don't follow through on their New Year's resolutions. I mean, at the start of the year, many people made career moves, career plans. Some of these plans have not been followed through. So if your career needs to get back on track, or if you're wondering what career path to follow, mid-year is probably the ideal time to reflect, to reset, and turn things around. So what did you set to achieve this year with your career, with your profession, and how is that going so far? That's what we're focusing on at 11 o'clock. At 11:30, we do our health and wellness feature, and today we're discussing hepatitis. Yesterday marked World Hepatitis Day. The day is used to shine a light on a group of viral infections that often go unnoticed but claim far too many lives all over the world, and especially here in South Africa. So we're going to focus on that on our health and wellness feature at 11:30. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clement, it's just so sad. It's just so disheartening, Clement, to be witnessing what you are seeing in Gaza. But it's not only in Gaza. These things are happening, throughout the world. Our leaders, they've lost the moral ground so much that, it's all about them, no longer about the people that they are leading, no longer about the poor children. Really, have you lost the moral grounds? Have we lost, the sense of Ubuntu, the sense of humanity? Where is it? What happened? Because this is a global phenomenon, Clement. It's not only in Gaza. You can bring it down here to South Africa. Our leaders are only thinking about their pockets. But let's stick now to the Gaza scenes and stories. This is really heartless from the leaders. Joseph Rosley.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and 702 listeners. I think it's only Benjamin Netanyahu who would say there is no starvation in Gaza. Anybody who has eyes and ears can see and hear what is clearly happening on the ground. Now, when South Africa went to the International Criminal Court, some people thought, no, it was overreacting or whatever. But I think with the scenes that we are seeing on TV today, everybody in his right mind or her mind will be able to see that it can never be allowed in this day and age for children to die of hunger or for people to be killed while queuing for food. And we think it is right. The situation must carry on. It's very sad what is happening in Gaza. Thank you.
But there are people that are justifying it. Baruch on Twitter says, Clement, it's clear that Israel has something against America. That's why they are so bold and brave, and they can do as they please. On the YouTube page, there's someone here who says, Chinonya, who says, Clement, there's no starvation in Gaza. What you see there is a movie created by the Gaza Wood. See, my point? There are people that actually would justify or try to even tell you that what's happening in Gaza is not starvation. But I wonder if they pause and ask themselves, why does the rest of the world see what they don't see? What's blinding them? I mean, go and just Google starvation in Gaza. Look at those videos. Look at the desperation in the eyes of those children who are malnourished. Some of them get shot at while they are there looking for food. And we are told by the Israeli Defense Force that no, sometimes we just shoot, we fire warning shots. What I'm asking is if the rest of the world can see when Israel's biggest ally, the US, can see there is starvation. What gives Israel the confidence to keep thinking this is the opinion we're going to hold even when it differs with everybody else and we don't care? What gives them the confidence to stand that ground? There must be something, because I really don't understand. If they don't listen to their biggest ally, the US, then what is it? And what is it going to take for them to realize that there is, in fact, starvation? This is a humanitarian crisis. Over 140 people now dead due to starvation, according to the health ministry there. I mean, it's crazy. And you still have people who look at those visuals, who see the children who are dying there, who see the desperate children who are crying for food, and they say, well, that's not starvation. What is it then? And how can the US and everybody else see it but yourself? What does that say? It's 23 minutes now after 9.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So just two quick things I want to tell you this morning, and then I'm going to go back to your calls and WhatsApps. We have a new feature that we're going to be starting next month. Yeah, next month of August. We're going to call it the Helpline. So this feature is all about helping you. There are cases that have come before us that we have resolved for our listeners we are not going to be able to help with everything, but we have done what we could. The producers have worked behind the scenes to try and resolve some challenges that have been put before us by some of our listeners. So here's a call that I'm making to you. If you have something you've struggled with, a challenge you think we could be able to assist with the access that we have, I would like you to send us an email on cm@702.co.za, cm@702.co.za. Indicate that it's for the helpline. We don't promise to help with every case or every challenge presented to us, but we're going to try our best. And then we'll bring on air some of the people that we've asked, that have asked us for help, and explain how we've been able to assist them on how we're helping them. As I say, this is work that has already been happening behind the scenes, but we're going to start bringing it on air through this feature called The Helpline. So if you've got some assistance you think we can help with, and there's a reason you think we can assist with, send us an email on cm@702.co.za. I also want to remind you about the People's Dialogue that we're going to be hosting next month here at Prime Media House. We're going to be hosting the People's Dialogue next month ahead of the Presidential National Dialogue, and we are inviting you to take part. What are the issues you think are important to cover, and do you want to attend? If that's the case, I want you to send us an email on contact@702.co.za because space is limited. So we need to be able to know how many people are coming, how many people we're catering for, and also we can send you the details of when you can come. So contact@702.co.za is the email to send, and we'll send you all the details, the address, the time you have to be here. But we want to make sure that the audience is also as diverse as possible. So if you're a youth organization, maybe you're part of the civil society, maybe you're an activist, maybe you're a professional, wherever you are, please come and join us. Contact@702.co.za is the number is the email address to send your information to. It's 26 after 9.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Willie, you're calling from Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Very quickly. The problem of Israel, we all know the answer lies in the U.S. Until the U.S. and some European countries say enough is enough, the problem will never be solved. But the most unfortunate part is the APEC in the U.S. has captured almost all the politicians, from Trump to whoever. That is the problem. You can see even in Europe, the European Union is just conflicted. They will say this, the other day they will change. Until these two people, the US and Europe, say to Israel, stop it, we are no longer going to support you, the problem will still go on and go on and go on. That's it. And it is unfortunate. South Africa is being targeted because of its stance. Look, Israel, that is why Romela, the big boy, to fight with us. That is the fact. Thanks, brother. Willie in Pretoria.
Yeah, Willie in Pretoria, thank you so much for your thoughts. So Willie says it's not enough for Trump to acknowledge the starvation. He can stop it, but how can he stop it? How can he stop it? Because even Trump himself has been frustrated by Benjamin Netanyahu. Remember when we played you that clip of Donald Trump saying they don't know what the F they're doing, talking about Iran and Israel. So Trump himself has been frustrated by Israel, by Benjamin Netanyahu. And some people have suggested, I'm sure Benjamin must have some news on Trump, must have something on the US or Donald Trump that's compromising, because it doesn't make sense that president after president, some of them are frustrated by Benjamin Netanyahu, and for some reason he still gets what he wants. I mean, was there a reason for Trump to go and bomb Iran, their nuclear sites? We've already told you about the organizations and what they have said, including the United States state security around Iran and its nuclear capabilities. They said no evidence that they were building a nuclear bomb. So in the absence of that, What justification do you have to go bomb those Iran sites? Because Benjamin Netanyahu wants you to? So what does he have on the US or on Donald Trump? Because as much as he expresses frustration, like in this case, disagreeing even with him, because Benjamin says there's no starvation, Benjamin Netanyahu says there's no starvation, Donald Trump says it's clear that there is real starvation there in Gaza. So the question then is, why, even with that frustration, can the US not put its foot down and say, we are your biggest ally. We are sending billions and billions in aid so you can get weapons. We're helping you with your fight in Gaza. But if you're not going to listen to us at some point and take our advice, then it ends here. Why are they not doing that? Eunice, you're calling us from Killarney. Good morning.
Yeah, hi there, Clement. Clement, just yesterday, 2 human rights groups in Israel, that's B'Tselem and Physicians for Human Rights, that's Israeli, based in Israel, have come out with a report stating that what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. So, other than anyone else saying it, they're based in Israel. Now, what PR stunts that the Israelis are using there, for example, the other day they showed you a whole, hundreds of trucks lined up. Those trucks are at the Rafah border and they're not allowed in. But in reality, only 10 trucks were allowed in. And, airdrops also. There was only 1 truckload of airdrops that was actually fell through into the Gaza Strip. What they're not telling you is a lot of that food requires water to be cooked or oil to be cooked. And none of that exists there in Gaza at the moment. Whatever water is contaminated. So in my opinion, what we are witnessing in the Gaza at the moment, Clement, is the Auschwitz of our time. And it cannot be that in today's time, and we still have people condoning what Israel is doing there. It's actually a crime against humanity.
Yeah. Eunice and Killarney, thank you for your contribution. It's 9:30. Get the latest in our Witness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. There is a heavy police presence outside the Roodepoort Magistrates Court this morning. This is where a crowd of community members from Vleehof have gathered, some calling for a mother accused of murdering her son to be denied bail. Murder accused Tiffany Nicole Meek will know today if she will be released on bail when judgment is delivered. Staying in the courts, the 6 men arrested in connection with the Lusikisiki mass murder in the Eastern Cape are expected back in court today, where their trial gets underway. Yesterday, the men appeared in court where they pleaded not guilty. They face charges including conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping and robbery with aggravating circumstances. And the Commission of Inquiry into alleged corruption within the criminal justice system has scheduled a consultation with KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to get the process underway. The commission, established by the President, follows allegations of corruption and collusion made public by Mkhwanazi earlier this month. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Heading towards Marlborough Gardens, we've got an accident reported on the M1 South. It's right near the Marlborough Drive. It's causing delays coming out of the Baku interchange. While in Sandton, we still have got delays along Catherine Street. This is just as we come out of Greyston Drive. This is due to an accident as well. While on the M1 South, coming out of Bramley, roadworks are taking place right near Corlett Drive, and they are causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. While heading towards Midrand, delays on the N1 North between Annandale Road and New Road. There's also queuing traffic in the southern direction of this route just as you approach Olifantsfontein Road. Please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. I'll have your next update at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
What is devastating about this story coming out of the Eastern Cape is that this grade 12 learner failed to pay for a school trip. Why does that translate to caning effectively to a point where your palm is injured to the level that it was in that video?
Absolutely unacceptable. As a country as well, you're outlawed to the use of criminalization of violence for death. And I don't understand why a child should be punished for the physical means that they may or may not have.
Lukanyo Vanwa speaking on behalf of the National Minister of Basic Education.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Get ready, Mzansi. Powerball has rolled over to a massive 100 million rand guaranteed jackpot this Tuesday. You heard right. Play Powerball for the guaranteed 100 million rand jackpot today, and you could hit it lucky. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort, and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance, and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
Zinzi, the Gen Z. Word on the street is you sold your car.
Yes, and you know I needed a glow up. Hashtag no hustle, no hassle.
So wait. The influencer got influenced by We Buy Cars.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And they came to me. They checked the car, they gave me an offer. Oh, and they paid me immediately. Easier than an Insta Live, without the weird DMs at 2 a.m.
I didn't understand half of the things you just said, but hey, We Buy Cars. Geared for the glow up. Geared for you.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra's early spring season features a stellar lineup of international and local talent. Enjoy favorites by Mozart, Beethoven, and Tchaikovsky. Concerts run at the Linda Auditorium on Thursday evenings from 7 to 28 August. Book at Quicket. Visit jpo.co.za for more info.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Well, one of the newer parts of the B20 is that there's now a dedicated task force on industrial transformation and innovation. Its chair's Andrew Kirby.
The task force's timing for South Africa is good. It's a really crucial time for us to sit back and think about how we can support industrialization and really drive a resilient economy. You can't have sustainable economic GDP growth without a strong industrial base.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa CIB, honored as the best bank for ESG in Africa and South Africa by Euro Money Awards for Excellence 2025. Your story matters. Absa is a registered FSP.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
24 minutes before 10 o'clock. So, remember we spoke about the Kenny Kunene matter last week on the 702 open line, and we spoke to the spokesperson for the Patriotic Alliance, who was explaining why Gayton McKenzie as president has decided to allow processes to unfold, an investigation into Kenny Kunene for about a month. So he's going to step down from party activities. He's resigned as a councillor as well, so he's no longer MMC as well. And the whole issue is that he was found, remember, at the home of KT Molefe, the man who was arrested, and he was arrested because he's linked to some charges and the murder of DJ Somebody. So when the police went to arrest KT Molefe, you will remember that they found Kenny Kunene there. And then afterwards, after we spoke to the spokesperson of the Patriotic Alliance last week, we also spoke to the former Hawks head, General Godfrey Lebeya, because the KZN Provincial Commissioner Ntantlam Konazi claimed that there was a time when they went to arrest Molefe, and there is another group of law enforcement officers from the Hawks who tried to stop that arrest, and seemingly they were sent by Godfrey Lebeya. So we spoke to Godfrey Lebeya, who said, I didn't send people to go stop the arrest. And he said he was called by a police informant who told him that there are people who are identifying themselves as Hawks officers. Now, there has since been a development in that story. Africa News Global, which is the same news platform that Kenny Kunene says was going to publish an exclusive interview with Molefe. Remember when Kenny Kunene was found at the house of Molefe, he said, I was there to accompany a journalist who was going to interview Molefe, and the story was going to be exclusive on Africa News Global. Now, Africa News Global yesterday ran a story confirming that the person who actually called Godfrey Lebeya, who was then the Hawks head, is actually businessman Malcolm X. And Malcolm X confirmed to Africa News Global that he is indeed the person who called the Hawks head to say there are people here identifying themselves as Hawks officers. So we've got him on the line to chat to us about this. He joins us now on the line. Malcolm X, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning. Welcome to 702.
Pleasure is all mine.
Let's start from the beginning. So you have now confirmed that you are the person that called Godfrey Lebeya, who was the Hawks head, to inform him that there are people at Katiso Katie Molefe's house who want to arrest him, who are pretending to be Hawks officers. Can you explain what happened then? How did you find yourself at this house, and what did you say to Godfrey Lebeya at the time?
Thank you for having me. First of all, the story is exclusive of Africa News Global. It was broken by them after having interviewed me. And the journalist is Bianca Binase, BB. Now, on the day in question, that was 6 December 2024, I received a call from someone who said someone that I know very well, who is one of my clients in my consulting business, who said he's the brother to Molefe, Katie Molefe.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, look, Malcolm, I'm not around, but please do me a big favor. My brother just called me and said he's either about to be arrested or kidnapped and possibly killed by people who are masquerading as police officers at his house. Then he sent me the address. He directed me to the house. I drove there quickly. It was during the day. I didn't even have time to call for backup or tell the police about it. So I went there alone. As I was about to park, then I saw there were about 35 to 40 people in the yard, and there were many vehicles outside the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the entrance, they wouldn't allow me to enter the yard. They said they are police officers. Then I said, okay, from which division? They said, why is it my business? Then I explained them that their brother to the owner of the house asked me to come through. On arrival, several of them were talking to me. They were very rude, even refusing to show me their identification cards
Mm-hmm.
to prove they were policemen. Then I said, guys, this is very suspicious because there are people here wearing ballot levels,
Yeah.
refusing to show me their identity cards. Some cars had no registration numbers. Then I said, if you are policemen, my name is Malcolm X. If you are policemen, please show me who I'm. Proof of that. So some said, hey, you can't be Malcolm. So I took out my ID
Mm-hmm.
and showed them that it's my real name, as in the name is Malcolm, surname is X. So I requested them to do the same. They wouldn't. Then eventually I said, can I speak to your commander? They said he's not available. At some stage, the commander came and said, yes, we are policemen. But some of them had already said, because I asked them from which division. Then I said, are you Hawks, Crime Intelligence, or SAPS? They said all that. And when they said all that, that's when I decided to call General Godfrey Lebeya from my cell phone. I called him. He picked up. Then I said, General, there are people here who say they are Hawks.
Yeah.
Some of them say they are Hawks, and they were sent by you to this operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him how I got to be there. Then he said, look, I have no knowledge of any Hawks members doing an operation in Sentin. Can I verify? He verified and called back and said, no. They are not Hawks because I just spoken to my people. Hawks members are not supposed to be there. But I will send teams to come verify them.
Mm-hmm.
Then at some stage, it didn't take long. So they arrived. Some apparently came from Pretoria or Camping Park, Sunny Hill. But then I met Hawks members that I know personally from job activity. They arrived. Hi, Malcolm. How are you? We've been told to come here. We've been told that we are here as well. Then I said, sir, I'm here. I'm the one that called General. Then they verified those people that they are. Then they came out and said, okay, it's confirmed. They are policemen.
Okay.
And but when I called the General, I actually put my phone on the speaker. They could hear I was talking to General Godfrey Lebeya. So it came as a surprise when General Ntlanhla Mkhwanazi, during his interview, when he said someone at the house called head of the Hawks to intervene and try to stop the police from doing their job, or to intervene and try to stop the police from arresting Molefe. That was not the case. I personally called General Mkhwanazi myself. I have proof on my phone.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment, Malcolm. I just wanted you to give us like what happened in the beginning. I think we get that. Now, here's a question. So you said the brother of Molefe is the one who called you and said, my brother is about to be arrested and we're concerned, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why did the brother call you? Why didn't he call the police?
I don't know why he didn't call the police. But as a super consultant that I am.
What do you consult in? Are you a lawyer?
No, a consultant with a registered company in consulting. I consult for everything, entertainment, construction, all that.
Okay, so with legalities like this, what gives you the authority to be, for instance, if someone consults me, it's probably going to be about the media, interviews. You know, nobody's going to call me, for instance, and say, oh my God, my brother is about to be arrested and these people are identified, because I don't have authority on that. I don't consult in that space. So I'm trying to understand, if you are not a lawyer, you are not an investigator, on what authority did the brother of Molefe call you and say, help?
The brother of Molefe called me because he's been my client for a long time in entertainment. Now they know that I'm very close to authorities as in politicians, businessmen and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are.
And he knew. Yeah, and he knew that at that level I could assist.
Okay, that might make sense. So they knew that you are close to authorities. So based on the Africa News Global website, they are saying that you said that it's the friend of Molefe who called you. In fact, let me quote it here. It says, Malcolm X told Africa Global that he received a call from a client of his who happened to be friends with Molefe. So you told Africa News Global this person was friends with Molefe. You're telling me now that this person was brothers to Molefe. Which is which?
Okay. Now, in the streets, a friend can be a brother can be a friend. I could be friends with someone, but the friendship could be at a level whereby we feel that we are brother. We feel that it's no longer just a friendship, but a brotherhood. Now, I've got people who are not related to me biologically, but I call them my brother. How are you, my brother? We call each other brothers.
Okay, so in this case, can we be clear then? Is it a friend or is it a brother?
I don't know if they are friends or brothers, but they call each other brothers. So when he called me, say my brother, I did not question that because I've never met Molefe in my life. I don't have his cell number. I don't know if he's got my cell number. Even at the time he got arrested, I did not see him being taken out of the house, but his children confirmed that, yes, our father has just been arrested because we stayed there for about 10 to 11 hours.
Yeah.
At the gate, yeah.
Okay. Where do you get the contacts of the Hawks? When you say you are close to authorities, are you close to the then Hawks head, Godfrey Lebeya, as well? And here's why I'm asking that, right? If for instance, as Malcolm X, you're concerned about people who may be posing as police officers, do you have a relationship with Godfrey Lebeya that gives you the access to call him? Because you could have called the station commander or another police station. Can you help me understand that relationship with the former Hawks head?
At the time, I got a call from Katie Molefe's brother or friend, as you said it. The first person I called was the minister of the police. He didn't pick up. Then I called the head of the Hawks because I wanted to call the minister and say, hey, there are policemen here who say they are policemen. When I didn't pick up, I called Lebeya. In my life, I've met Lebeya once in his office in Pretoria. He's got my number. I've got his number. Now, all these people, politicians, They are human beings. They are accessible. And as a super consultant,
and he's not a politician. Remember, he's not a politician. He's a law officer. He's a Hawks head.
Yes. Look, I've got access to his bosses. They have access to me. As a super consultant in my business, you must have access to everyone.
When you say his bosses, what do you mean?
I'm talking about the ministers.
Oh, the ministers. Okay.
Yeah. Now, in my level of business, I must have access to everyone. They have access to me. So if you and I are friends and you happen to be appointed to be a minister, I'm not going to start running away from you because you are now in a higher position. The friendship continues.
So do you think then Lebeya gave you access to himself because you have access to his bosses?
No. I gave him access to me.
Okay.
I gave Lebeya access to me.
What was the condition? Are you able to tell us why you guys met in the office back in the day? Was it on a separate matter?
Yeah, it was on a separate matter. It was not on this. And to clarify you, if General Lebeya said he was called by a police informant, I don't remember him saying that because I'm not a police informant. And he wouldn't say that.
All right, hold on. He wouldn't say that. He did say it on this show. Listen to this.
Yeah.
So the source who called you, what interest does that person have in this matter? Is it only because they're friends of Molefe, or do they have any other interest in this matter?
I do not know their relationship. Firstly, I don't even know this Molefe. I never heard about him before. So it's not one of the famous names that when a person mentioned it, one would have picked it up. So I don't know what is his relationship with this individual. It is something that this person himself can indicate. I just took it that they are general friends. But to us, we just took this is an information from somebody who has been providing information in the past. It's not the first time that he's providing the information.
But then he's also friends with this man who was about to be arrested, and he has a relationship with the police because he's given them information before.
The informant, all the people in South Africa, those who want to fight crime from time to time, provide information. The fact that they might be closely related to criminals is something that we will not be knowing from the word go. So, yes, he provided the information to us, which in the past we had to work on it. And obviously I can't be revealing the nature of the information that he provided.
But this man has provided information before that was credible to the police.
Yes.
And this time around, his friend was about to be arrested. So that's the part I wanted you to hear, Malcolm X. Godfrey Lebeya confirmed on the show last week that you have provided information to the Hawks as an informant, which has been credible before.
Okay, that is not true. In fact, please put it on record that I have never provided information to the Hawks or the police, as the general says. I'm actually appalled. I'm not an informant, as he says. If I were to show you my our communications, as in WhatsApp communications, since 2023, you'll see that there's nothing about providing information, credible information. I've never been his informant. I've never been registered as his informant.
So what were you guys talking about since 2023 on WhatsApp with the head of the Hawks?
We're talking about things that have nothing to do with being an informant, nothing to do with Katie Molefe. I did not know Molefe. So on the court, I'm not his informant. I've never been.
But since 2023, you were talking to the Hawks head. What were you guys talking about?
We're talking about things that are totally different from what's being reported here. And it was
like
not
what?
about
Is it something you can't tell us? Is it a secret?
It's not something that I can discuss on the media.
Why can't you discuss it?
Because it's a privileged information.
Okay. Does it have anything to do with the Godfrey Lebeya's work as Hawks head?
Yes, it does. But it has nothing to do with being closely related to criminals, as he alleges. I heard he said the source closely related to him. First of all, I've never met Molefe. When I went to his house, I had to be given directions.
Yeah. No, I get
didn't
that
have
part.
his
I get
own-
that part.
yeah.
Do you understand why some South Africans are listening to this and they're wondering, there's a businessman out there who's had a relationship with the head of the Hawks and he can't disclose what that relationship is? Because if you said to us, well, we were talking about information I was providing to them because I was an informant, okay, then that makes sense because you can't share that with us. But you had a relationship with the head of the Hawks as a businessman.
Yes.
In the context of what Mkhwanazi has said about people who are business people, who have relationships with people who are law enforcement, who are in the law enforcement agencies, do you understand why it's causing some confusion to some South Africans?
I understand that. And but it has nothing to do with one being an informant. It has nothing to do with having reported something to him. I'm actually surprised that because I wasn't aware of this.
Okay.
That you just
Did
made me listen.
you link Kenny Kunene to Molefe?
No. I don't know how Kenny Kunene and Molefe met, if they ever met.
Okay. What's your relationship with Kenny Kunene?
Kenny Kunene has been my friend since 2005 and a business partner as well. We co-owned the nightclub together for. We've been in the entertainment business for a long time. He's my business associate.
Okay, so Kenny Kunene didn't talk to you about Molefe that, hey, we want to run this story on Africa News Global. I need his address and I need his contact details.
No, he never spoke to me about it. In fact, I'm the one who volunteered, who called Kenny and said, hey, look, man, I saw an interview of General Godfrey Lebeya saying he will not divulge the name of the person that called him. I was surprised why wouldn't the journalist say I was called by Malcolm X. Then I'm the one that said, look, I want the public to know that I'm the one that called because I've got nothing to hide.
Okay.
And but I told the general before I called him, I said, General, I'm surprised that you did not mention my name. Then he said, look, because I didn't have your permission and I had to respect Poppy Act. Yeah, then I said, I'm going to speak that I'm the one that called you. Then he said, I don't have a problem. I even said to him in my message to him, look, can I also use the picture that I took with you in your office as proof that we know each other and that...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you called General Mkhwanazi after his press briefing. Do you have a relationship with General Mkhwanazi? Because you seem to have a very close relationship with these top police officials because you said you've got links to their bosses.
They also have relationships with me.
Yeah.
It's a
On what
two-way
basis? On what basis?
I've never met General M. Mkhwanazi before. Besides to say we had an international festival in Durban in May.
Yeah.
We brought Rick Ross. I was a joint venture partner at that festival, and obviously we had to interact with authorities in Durban, the municipality, and in one of the pictures, General Mkhwanazi met my business partner.
Okay, so when you called him after his press briefing, what were you trying to clarify to him?
I was trying to say, General, you said someone that called General Lebeya tried to interfere with the work of the police. I'm that person, and I was not trying to interfere with the work of the police.
And what did he say?
He did not pick up. Then 3 hours later, he called me. I also missed his call. The following day, I called him twice, but he did not pick up.
Okay.
Prior to that, I had sent him, after the festival, I had sent him a message to thank him.
Okay.
For a festival that went well, where our people were safe.
Okay.
So I've never had a telephone discussion with him besides missing each other's calls.
Okay, got it. Should you be asked to come and testify at this inquiry with any information you may have had, are you willing to do that?
If they don't invite me, I will go there and try to force myself in because it's important for me to be there.
Malcolm X, thank you so much for making time for us. I really appreciate you coming through. My goodness, my head is spinning because I've got so much to say. There's a lot that as a South African I'm concerned about based on what I've just heard. 2 minutes before 10 o'clock.
In 50 meters, turn left. You missed the turn.
Okay, technically.
Recalculating.
But the new Haval H7 loves a detour. It's off-road capable yet refined and even a little wild.
A little wild?
Write your own story in the new Haval H7 from 6,999 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and book a test drive. Go with more. Go with the new GWM Haval H7.
In 50 meters, make a U-turn.
Oh, shush.
Gauteng's heartbeat is found in its local businesses, the ones that work tirelessly, serve selflessly, and show up every day with purpose. That's why 702 and Yoko are proud to bring back Gauteng's Greatest Awards, a celebration of the entrepreneurs who make this province feel like home. From your go-to coffee counter to the barber shop that's seen your family grow, this is your chance to say, I see you. Go to primemediaplus.com now to explore our 21 carefully curated categories and nominate the local businesses that make a difference in your life, because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence, and excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's Greatest Awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko counterfuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and flemmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
Looking to get more of your business insurance? Well, Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for dental, physiotherapy, surgical, and other medical specialties. That's why over 100,000 businesses across various industries trust Business Outsurance. Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Get a quick and easy quote today. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Licensed, insured, and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
Basketball fans, you're invited to step onto the court, dribble, pass, and shoot to unbelievable rewards with Hollywood Bets. Do you have what it takes to beat the buzzer, bury the shot, and clinch the victory? Get your head in the game and dive into a broad selection of action-packed basketball tournaments and fixtures that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Your slam dunk moment could be just a hoop away. Bet now. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Food Lovers Market is bringing you unbeatable deals this winter carnival. Save big on one 7 kg potato pocket and one 3 kg onion bag for 99 Rand per combo. Buy 3 1 kg tomato thrift packs for 50 Rand. 5 creamy avocados for 50 Rand. And 3 200-gram white button mushroom punnets for just 50 Rand. Valid until 3 August. Only at Food Lovers Market. Winter Carnival now on.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. There is a heavy police presence outside the Roodepoort Magistrates Court today. This is where a crowd of community members from Vleehof have gathered, some calling for a mother accused of murdering her son to be denied bail. Murder accused Tiffany Nicole Meek will know today if she will be released on bail. Meek is accused of murdering her 11-year-old son, Jaden Lee Meek, in May of this year. The state insists it has a strong case against her and it has opposed her release, but Meek's lawyer, Novel Naidu, has criticized the state's evidence, describing it as flawed.
There is no evidence before this court. There is an eyewitness that can confirm that Jaden was in the company of the applicants after he had been dropped off on the afternoon of the 13th of May 2025, and that she was the last person who was seen with him.
Let's stay in the courts. The 6 men arrested in connection with the Lusikisiki mass murder in the Eastern Cape are expected back in court today, where their trial gets underway. Yesterday, the men appeared in court where they pleaded not guilty. They faced charges including conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping and robbery with aggravating circumstances. They were arrested following the deaths of 18 relatives in Ngobozana village in Lusikisiki last year. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The families of the victims from the Lusikisiki massacre will get to hear some aspects of the brutal murders of their loved ones. They say they are expecting this trial to shed some light, particularly the reason why the 18 people were killed in such a brutal manner. The matter will be heard in the Mthatha High Court. However, it is sitting in the Lusikisiki Regional Court. This is so that the families do not travel a long distance to attend the trial. All accused Mzugi Sindamase, Siphosokolo Mayekethe, Aphiwe Ndende, Bonga Yinsa, Mawethu Nomdlwembu, and Songezovuma pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
The commission established by President Cyril Ramaphosa following allegations of corruption and collusion that were made public by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is scheduled to have a consultation with Mkhwanazi to get that process underway. Yesterday, during a briefing in Sandton, Commission Chairperson Mbuyiseli Madlanga said they will work hard to meet the deadline set out by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Oren Singh has more.
A scheduled consultation between officials of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into Alleged Corruption within the criminal justice system and KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will provide a clearer picture regarding how wide the net is cast concerning the Commission's scope of work. During a briefing in Sandton yesterday, Acting Deputy Chief Justice and Commission Chair Mbuyiseli Madlanga revealed they would meet with Mkhwanazi in the coming days.
The imminent consultation is going to be with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. One has no idea what the consultation will lead to.
When questioned whether the timelines set out by President Cyril Ramaphosa to probe the allegations were sufficient, Madlanga emphasized they had a job to do and deadlines to meet, which they will work towards. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
To this now, 2 suspects have been arrested in Meyersdal in the south of Joburg after they were found in possession of 30 unlicensed firearms destined for the Western Cape. They were nabbed during an intelligence-driven operation last night. The police's anti-kidnapping task team believes they are part of a syndicate involved in the trafficking of unlicensed firearms. Spokesperson for the police, Athlenda Mate, says both suspects have been linked to various other cases in Gauteng and the Western Cape.
The arrest of the 34 and 45-year-old suspects follows several days of surveillance and information gathering across provinces by the SAPS anti-kidnapping task team. The suspects were found with 39mm unlicensed firearms.
And in China, at least 30 people have been killed as heavy rain continues to fall in parts of Beijing. The dangerous conditions have prompted authorities to evacuate 80,000 people. Dozens of roads have been closed and over 130 villages have lost electricity. Chinese President Xi Jinping has urged authorities to plan for the worst-case scenario. Gold is trading at $3,320.95 an ounce. The rand is at 17.91 to the dollar, 23.89 to the pound, 20.72 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.05 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South between the Brakfontein Interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. While travelling in Kelvin towards Marlborough, we've got delays on the M1 South between the Baklu Interchange and Marlborough Drive. That's due to a major accident scene reported there. While roadworks are taking place on the M1 South approaching Corlett Drive, do expect delays there.
Clear skies in store for Gauteng today, temperatures peaking at highs of 18 degrees across the province. The top story in EWN. There is a heavy police presence outside the Roodepoort Magistrates Court today. This is where a crowd of community members from Vleerhof are gathering, calling for a mother accused of murdering her son to be denied bail.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. 702.
We're listening to you. You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Okay, can we reflect on what just happened in the previous hour? So, Malcolm X has made a number of suggestions. First of all, he's basically telling us that Lebeya lied. Because remember, the Hawks head came on the show and said there's an informant who called him. And I asked, why would an informant have a direct line to the Hawks head and not like detectives? Because informants don't really necessarily deal with like commissioners, Hawks heads. Normally they deal with like people who are on the ground, who do operational stuff. And the Hawks head confirmed, and I asked that question twice, Abel. I said, so this man has provided credible information before. And he said, yes. Malcolm X says, what's his words? I'm appalled by what Godfrey Lebeya said because I've never provided any information before to the Hawks. So who's not telling the truth here? Because he clearly says Godfrey Lebeya lied. In fact, can we call Godfrey Lebeya? Let's call Godfrey Lebeya just to get clarity here. We've just spoken to Malcolm X and he says what you told us is not true. Let's call Godfrey Lebeya and find out what's going on here. Malcolm X says it's not true. I've never been an informant to the police. I've never called them on anything or informed them about anything. Now, that's the first thing that I thought for me was key because Godfrey Lebeya is such a respectable man. Why would he lie and say this is a man who's provided information before to the police? The second thing that's worrying me here is Malcolm X told this news agency that Molefe's friend is the one who called him as a consultant and asked him to come and help Molefe, who's about to be arrested. But to me this morning, he says, it's his brother. That's why I said, so it's his brother who called him? And he said, yes. And I said, but you told Africa News Global that it's his friend. And my friends, these details matter. These details do matter. Is it a brother or is it a friend? And why are you telling us different stories? The third thing that to me surprises me is Malcolm X says I know Godfrey Lebeya and other top people because I know their bosses. He says, people know that I have access to all these big people because I know their bosses, meaning I know the ministers. And then he says he's been talking on WhatsApp to Godfrey Lebeya since 2023. But he won't disclose what they were talking about, which is fine. But this is very suspicious. Okay, you've got a businessman who's in constant communication with the head of the Hawks, but he wasn't doing what they were talking about has nothing to do with information that's being provided to the Hawks. Based on what Mkonazi has said in that briefing, I'm questioning myself now. What happened? What were they talking about? He says he can't disclose that. But he says he's got access to Abu Godfrey Lebeya and all these people because he knows their ministers, their bosses. Which is a bit quite concerning for me. And this is in the context of what General Mkonazi has said. What do you think? Let's go to your WhatsApps to hear your reaction to this interview on 072 702 1702.
Hey, good morning, Clement. For me, I think now what Malcolm X is doing is trying to do damage control for Lebeya. I'm not tempted to believe whatever he is saying, but if maybe this commission comes into existence, the relationship between Malcolm X and Lebeya must also be investigated, and that's how I feel. Thanks, Mbuisenia.
Good morning, Clement. If it looks and smells like a rat, it's a rat. There's no need for us to call it something with small ears. I mean, Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965. I don't know which Malcolm X is this one. This guy is coming up with stories, and I don't see anything wrong from what the general actually said during his press conference, because he said someone from the house where they were trying to arrest this guy called the general, which is exactly what happened. This is the guy who called the General Lebeya. So I don't see any need why he should be out there gaining popularity because he's saying the general is wrong. Everything that the general said is right. Someone did call the Hawks general.
Morning, Clement. Morning, Clement. It's Jabulani here from Ramsek. Clearly, this guy is very scared. You see, if you are going to put him in big trouble, because if he discloses that he is an informant, then it's going to be to put his life in danger. That's what I think. He won't admit there on your show, but I think he's very scared.
Clement, based on the interview that you just had now, the details are still sketchy and there's more questions, but one thing is certain. General Mkhwanazi was definitely not lying when he said politicians and cops, top cops, are working with dodgy businessmen. Gregory here in Flagstop.
Hey, good morning, Clement, and how are you? I listened to your interview with this gentleman. What I can say is that this gentleman is contradicting himself, and he knows very well that he is into this and he's guilty. The way he responds to your questions, it shows that there's something fishy here, and even said that he will force himself to go and testify why he has to force himself, because he needs to be invited. Really, there's something wrong with this gentleman. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Zintle, keep talking. So, you'll realize that I'm telling you what's happening because the producer is also telling me what happened because I told them to call Godfrey Lebeya. Because something is not adding up here. Either the former Hawks had lied to us on this show last week, or Malcolm X is lying to us. And I'm more worried if it is the former Hawks head who lied to South Africans. I'm more worried about that than Malcolm X lying. So we've just called Godfrey Lebeya now. He says he won't come on air. He says he doesn't want to come on air, but he says that it would be irresponsible to say whether or not Malcolm X is an informant. But he's already done that. He told us last week that the person who called us is an informant who's provided credible information before. Malcolm X has come out to say, I am that informant. But the difference is I've never provided any information before. So why did the Hawks head claim that this man has provided information before? And Malcolm X says, we've got a relationship. We've been talking on WhatsApp since 2023. We've asked Godfrey Lebeya that. He says he's not denying that they've been in contact. He says the photo that they have together is from 2023 in Lebeya's office, but the former Hawks head says he will check his phone to confirm when they started communicating. What were they communicating about? It wouldn't have mattered until what Mkhwanazi has said. I would like to know, was it information around the Hawks? I mean, if it's privileged information, sure. But based on what Mkhwanazi has said, you do understand why we are curious about what the Hawks head was talking to the businessman about, the businessman whom his client was about to be arrested. This country. It's 17 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Your voice.
Your questions.
Your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
All right, we have to move on now. We have to move on to a conversation that we are having this hour with the Johannesburg Mayor. If you remember, we have been doing this series. We have done it, in fact, last year as well, where we give you an opportunity to engage with mayors of your metros. And this is part of like the check-in that we're doing with several mayors. We started with the Ekurhuleni mayor. We had the mayor of Tshwane, Dr. Nasipi Moya. Today we're bringing you the mayor of Johannesburg in studio. And you can watch this conversation on YouTube as well. Just go to the 702 YouTube page. We've done this before, so it's very easy. This is an opportunity for you to engage as the citizens of this metro with your mayor. But it's also an opportunity for the mayor to also update us about some of the priorities that he has had for his office and how much work has been done so far. So if you want to join this chat, you can call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. The mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero, is in studio with us. Mayor, welcome to 702. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and how are you? And morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
I want us to maybe start off with your priorities that you had announced, especially at the state of the city address. What are some of the priorities you've taken up in as far as the city is concerned, and how much work has been done so far since you've taken office?
Well, thanks for that. There are three key issues that we had committed ourselves to. One being bylaw enforcement and crime prevention, which related to us enforcing bylaws of the city, dealing with hijacked buildings, dealing with lawlessness generally in the city, dealing with illegal informal settlements, illegal street trading, and all those issues as part of bylaw enforcement. We also committed ourselves to improving the financial sustainability of the city, which is key for us to be able to deliver on our mandate. And of course, the last part that we're committed to do would have been around service delivery, which meant we need to ensure that we improve on services that we provide and ensure that when customers raise issues, we're able to respond timeously. So we're focused on that, which led to us implementing what we call high-impact service delivery programs. Even this morning, I'm from Ward 34 in Soweto, where we are doing a high-impact service delivery program, dealing with all services of the municipality. Just a few weeks ago, we went to Hyde Park in Ward 90 to do a high-impact service delivery, dealing with potholes, street lights, resurfacing of streets, etc., etc. So we're implementing, as we had made a commitment post the passing of the budget in May, that July is the month in which we start spending the budget, and these are the programs we are doing, and we are doing them effectively.
So in terms of the implementation of the services or the services that you provide, when you do an assessment, how are we doing there? I mean, is it 5 out of 10? Is it 3 out of 10? What's your assessment based on the services that you've been able to provide so far?
Well, in terms of the high-impact service delivery program, we can say that currently, if you look at Ward 90, where we're doing all the potholes, resurfacing, we're probably at about 8 to 10. What would be outstanding at the moment is addressing street lights, which is what we want to do now, but the roads we have done. We have not finished all of them, but work has been done in that area. Similarly, in Soweto, where we come from, the biggest thing that we have established, it's a sewer. So what has happened over the years, the infrastructure that was deployed in Soweto can no longer carry, does no longer have the capacity to carry the developments that has happened in Soweto. So the sewer pipes cannot carry. So we're experiencing a huge problem, especially in Ward 34, where I was. And we have therefore commissioned Joburg Water to look into the sewer challenges in not just in Ward 34, but in the entire Soweto. But they've already started with the work in Ward 34, and they're indicating that they should be able to complete the work just around February, because it requires almost changing the entire system, because the pipes there are smaller, because that area was a smaller area, now it has increased. So they have to then increase the capacity of the pipes, because we are battling that. So give or take 8 to 10,
and that's
6
across
to 10.
That's across the city.
Across the city, yes, we could say probably about 8 to 10.
Okay.
There are challenges, and it remains, Clement, the bigger challenge remains infrastructure that is decayed, especially water, electricity, and bridges and roads. And that is why if you look at our budget this time around, we have allocated bulk of the budget, especially in capital expenditure, to focus in the main on infrastructure.
Maintaining the infrastructure.
Yes.
Why is that only happening this time around? In the past, what was happening?
I guess over time, historically, the maintenance budget would not have been probably sufficient to deal with it.
But why was it not
Secondly,
sufficient?
it could be the growth that has happened so rapidly, and that growth happened without taking into cognizance the infrastructure challenges that might be there. So I suppose those were the challenges that they had, and we've now increased our maintenance budget to 8%, with a view of increasing it to 10% in the next cycle. In that way, we think we'll probably have some sufficient budgets to be able to try and maintain the infrastructure in Joburg.
Why was it not sufficient in the first place? So what I'm asking
There
is
could
why?
have been challenges that the administration before us would have been faced with. It could have been a budget issue. It could have been a spending issue. There could have been a number of challenges that they had. But we took a view when we came in that the national norm says you must at least keep it at about 8%. And that's what we had to enforce in this budget this year. And it basically means we have to shift certain spending from one area to the other,
Which
to
could have
maintain.
happened even previously.
It could have
Is the point
happened,
I'm making that
but I suggest the administration then would have had their own challenges and their own expectations. With us, you remember that there was a lot of developments happening over time, but perhaps they focused on developments and the maintenance could not come. But now we're experiencing the decay now.
We've been experiencing the decay. It
Which
doesn't
means
start now,
we have
Mayor.
no. Perhaps it's overexposed now, and
But
we
it's
have to
been
deal
such
with
a
it.
challenge for so many years now.
Yeah,
it's been a challenge for
remember,
many years. the
Clement,
issue of
Johannesburg
infrastructure
was
decay.
built years ago, around 1886. That's the birth of Johannesburg. And if you go around, you find that bulk of our infrastructure is over 50 years. And of course, it requires refurbishment. It requires
Maintenance.
replacement. And not just maintenance, of course. It requires replacements in some areas because it has been there for years. And that's the focus we're doing in this budget. Say, let's go in there, refurbish what we have to refurbish. We're also cognizant that the backlog is higher than what we have monetary-wise. So we must continue to also raise capital by collecting revenue and also raising money in the market to intervene in infrastructure refurbishment.
Yeah, it's just disheartening that there's a problem that is so simple. I mean, anybody who sees the infrastructure that has been decaying, that is getting old, and sees that the population is increasing, you look ahead and you plan ahead and you say, we need to spend more money on maintenance, for instance. So it's disheartening that in your administration that's starting now, and I'm not talking just to you now, I know there are other mayors that have been there before. It's sad to see that they've never anticipated that with the growing population, of course there are going to be challenges to our infrastructure. It needed to be maintained. So you've got to shift budget and funds so that you at least allocate some money for maintenance. Otherwise, we're dealing with the crisis that we're dealing with now, which is going to take even longer to resolve. I want to ask you now about informal settlements, because before I go to the coast, because it's one of the issues that have been raised by some of our listeners. You've said before that you will no longer tolerate the rapid increase of informal settlements. I know you've started, I don't know if you've done demolitions in Ginger Park informal settlements in Sandton. What's the status of illegal informal settlements in the city and how are you dealing with that?
Well, we've had a lot of informal settlements that are popping on every now and then, which is a problem. because it also forces us now to find ways of availing resources and services that we do not have and we have not budgeted for. It also strains communities because some of them are just built anywhere, and it then translates into a nuisance affecting other residents because they don't take responsibility either for their waste or any other thing. So we then took a view that we have to deal with illegality and lawlessness in the city and curb this issue quite actively. Part of what we have now doing is to acquire court orders because the courts require us to first have court orders before we can evacuate anyone from any of the illegal informal settlements. Now, we are busy with that process. I think at this stage, we're sitting with about 12 court orders in the main, which are focusing on buildings. And now we're also starting a process to deal with Ginger Park and the other one just next to it to finalize the court orders. However, last week we went into a process of conducting a raid to deal with the following issues. One, those that are illegal and undocumented that are staying there. That is why there was Home Affairs. And we had a success of just over 15 people that were arrested for being illegal and
Only
undocumented.
15?
Yeah, just around 15. Remember at the point where you arrive, others had
Oh,
disappeared.
they're gone. Okay.
Perhaps they got a tip-off. Secondly, we dealt with, there were a number of shacks inside Ginger Park that were built, not occupied, empty. We dealt with those, we removed them because it meant that it's an expansion or it's a rental economy. What we have also established is that a lot of the Lesotho citizens, nationals, actually own, one person will own over 10 shacks, which he rents out, and most South Africans are renting to Lesotho nationals. And it's a problem in itself. But there are also social issues that requires us to address because interacting with South African citizens, they would come from Soweto, they come from Alexander, and all over our townships who have settled there. And some of them, the argument is that they settle there because they work at Monte Casino, it's easier for them in terms of transport costs. So it was easier for them to settle there. They only pay about 400 rands for the shack. But we told them that is not justification for illegality. And part of what we have to do is to intervene as a government and say, how do we settle the working class so that they're not far from their places of work, so that at least the bulk of their income is not spent on transport. But that does never justifies any form of illegality, and they understood. And majority of them were pleading with us if we could find them an alternative place. So as part of the process is to find an alternative place for South African citizens, get the court order approved, and once that is done, that informal settlements will be closed. We will be going in there to close Ginger Park and remove South African citizens, find them alternative. At least the law in this case does not force us to find alternative accommodation for undocumented and illegal people. Therefore, Home Affairs will then assist to take them back to their countries of origin.
All right, it's 10:31. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News. When we come back, we'll take your calls on 011-883-0702, your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. There have been some major developments in the case against the suspects arrested in connection with the murder of musician Oupa Sefoke, popularly known as DJ Somebody. Two more high-profile cases have been linked to controversial businessman Katiso KT Molefe and the hitman he has been charged with. Molefe returned to the Alexandra Magistrates Court today in connection with the murder of DJ Somebody. Sefoke was killed in November of 2022 with two of his bodyguards in Woodmead. Let's stay in the courts. Flairhof community members have gathered outside the Roodepoort Magistrates Court calling for murder-accused Tiffany Meek to remain behind bars. Meek will hear the outcome of her bail application today. She is facing charges in connection with the murder of her 11-year-old son, Jaden Lee Meek. And 2 suspects have been arrested in Meyersdal in the south of Joburg after they were found in possession of 30 unlicensed firearms destined for the Western Cape. They were nabbed during an intelligence-driven operation last night. The police's anti-kidnapping task team believes they are part of a syndicate involved in the trafficking of unlicensed firearms. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, travelling on the M2 West, we've got some delays approaching the main Riff Road exit. Please be on the lookout there. While on the M1 South, traffic remains heavily backed up coming out of the Baku interchange towards Marlborough Drive. That's due to an accident right near Marlborough Drive off-ramp. If you are travelling in the Sandton CBD, do expect some delays along Catherine Street. This is on both directions of the road coming out of the Greyston Drive and in and out of Greyston Drive, while in Bedford View, delays on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and the Gululis interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the N12 and the R24 West just as you approach the Gululis turn off. And do remember that in Kensington we still have got that protest activity along Albertina Sisulu Road, and it's causing massive queues on several roads around the area. As a result, Albertina Sisulu Road is closed off to traffic approaching Kitchener Avenue, so please be on the lookout and try to avoid driving around this area as much as you can. I'll have more updates for you at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Did you have conversations with Jeffrey Epstein?
At lunch and breakfast and dinner, we'd all sit there together. There was food that was served there. These criminals are very charismatic and clever, trying to make people think that they know everything about the world. He made it out like he was a genius and he was running the world. And then also the only other times I saw him was when he took me into the bedroom. And then I don't know where he was the rest of the time.
Juliet Rose Bryant, author of The Dragon, the Apple, the Butterfly.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival presents 3 unforgettable days deep in the heart and art of jazz. From the 26th to the 27th and 28th of September, Oma Sangarai, Abatembu, Jasmaya Horn, Silent Ngo, and the Noisemakers, Nej Ponk Trio, Michelle Denjeshelo, Velimsini, Gabi Mutuba, and over 50 world-class acts will be ready to welcome you and yours to 4 magnificent stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
Celebrate the horse racing season of champions with Hollywood bets and saddle up for sensational success. Stand a chance to win a spectacular share of over 2 million rand in prizes, including a brand new Amoda C5 or C7. All you have to do is bet 50 rand or more on any horse racing event for a shot at your crowning moment. Take the reins and get ready to gallop to grand rewards. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult at 3,469. Just had a fantastic 2-hour meeting. It was so productive that we accomplished nearly as much as I could have done with one well-written email.
Hating the corporate 9 to 5? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's easy and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
To every 702 lender who laced up, showed up, and walked the talk with us this past Sunday, thank you. The 702 family loved every moment, walking, talking, and connecting with you on the route. You made the 2025 702 Walk the Talk one for the books, and we can't wait to do it all again with you next year. Here's to you, 702 lenders, and here's to the 2025 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock, we are hosting the Mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero, this morning. This is part of our check-in with the mayors. We've had the Mayor of Ekurhuleni so far and the Mayor of Tshwane, and what we try to do is bring them in so they can engage with you as a citizen of their metro. So you can raise with the mayors that we bring here the issues and concerns that you have in your metros, and they can also update you on their service delivery programs. And you can do so by calling us on 011-883-0702. If you've got any questions for Dada Morero, the mayor of Johannesburg, WhatsApp's on 0727021702. Moshe, let's start with you. You're calling us from Alexandra. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and how are you?
I'm all right. Go ahead.
And good morning to the mayor himself.
Good morning.
I have a very big question for the mayor. I'm based in Alexandra. I'm born in Alexandra. I hear every time when the new mayor comes in, previous mayor has been here, everybody has mentioned things about changing things in Gauteng. I have never, ever heard any mayor whatsoever coming with new plans for Alexandra. We have never seen anything, no changes whatsoever. Alexandra is actually becoming a dump of people for Johannesburg. Everyone that comes from anywhere, they end up in Alexandra for free living, no bylaws, nothing has been under control here. What is the plan for the mayor for Alexandra?
Got it. Okay, so what's the plan for Alexandra? Let's take these two WhatsApp voice notes as well.
Hey Clement, good day to you and your guest there. I see the project for Lillian Ngoyi Street is bound to be finished quite soon, now in August apparently, according to the news, which is great to hear. But maybe we can just ask the mayor there why it costs 194 million rand to repair that street. I see it's 450 meters of street that works out to about R1 million per meter. To fix a road. I'm quite curious to understand the intensity and the cost. Please, if the mayor could answer that question, that'll be great. Thank you. Wesley Bryanston.
Hi, Clement, and hi to the mayor. Could you please ask the mayor if they have processes in place to go around the city to check for bylaw compliance? I know he said it's one of his priorities, but it always appears to me that the city is always on a back foot with this kind of issues. And I think if you had proper controls in place, if you had people doing inspections in and around the city, that it wouldn't cost the city as much to deal with some of these issues. Case in point is illegal connections, humans in informal settlements that seem to be mushrooming all over the city. But you never see anyone trying to deal with it while it's still small. It's always, they wait until it's big, and then you see the kinds of could you call it inspections that the mayor was doing yesterday, I saw on the news.
All right, thank you so much for your questions. Yeah, Mayor, over to you. The questions around Alex, Lillian Ngoyi, and the processes to check bylaw compliance.
Yeah, well, thanks, Clement, for the question. I just missed the name of your last caller. But nonetheless, let me start with him to respond on bylaw enforcement. And he's raising quite concerning issues that at times we leave the problems to grow and be bigger before we act. And that has been a weakness within the organization. And those weaknesses we're trying to address. You'd also realize that it's only now we have, in February, appointed the Chief of Police. We have therefore appointed a Director for Bylaws. There are basic weaknesses within the organization, and we are fixing those weaknesses. And I think a month ago we appointed a Director who will focus on bylaw enforcement, putting together a proper unit within the JMPD that will help us to deal with bylaw enforcement. Over time, that unit was almost non-functional, and we are reviving it to ensure that we can deal with bylaws. Yes, we do deal from time to time with illegal connections of both electricity and water. City Power is able to pick up on their systems which area is now becoming a problem, and we go into those areas to do the disconnections. We've got a huge problem with meters being bypassed, especially electricity and water meters. by residents and even in your suburban areas, which is a big problem that we are faced with. And we're constantly addressing it by going out there to cut and force customers to therefore pay. The cost of Lilian Ngoyi, Wesley, it's extended. It's not only where the explosion happened that we are rebuilding or reconstructing. We took a view to refurbish or reorganize the entire Lilian Ngoyi so that it also talks to what we call the complete street program to ensure that we can extend the pavements, bring in trees, bring in street furniture so that the entire street is complete. And that's what we are doing, and perhaps maybe that is why the costs might have went as high as 194, and that is what probably had done, because we did a whole new program as opposed to just addressing where the explosion happened. We said let's address the whole street, and that's what we are doing on Lilian Ngoyi. And the first phase is where the explosion happened. We are completing it by the end of August, and we are on track. Just around the 1st of September, I'll be around there just to open the road once more. Which is correct. Alexander has a number of challenges. You know that we've had the Alexander Renewal Program, but the population continued to increase in that small space, which makes it also difficult. And of course, it's correct. It's just disregard for bylaws. No one adheres to the rules. I mean, there are people who have built on pavements, who have built just over water pipes, sewer pipes, which also makes it difficult for the city departments to also do maintenance as and when there's water pipes or sewer bursts within the area. So the issue of Alexander would not give you a simple solution. It requires a comprehensive solution on how we're going to respond. One of the things we're trying to do is to acquire land just adjacent to Alexander, which I think that process has almost been complete. And the intention, therefore, is to try and decant Alexander and move other people into that area. And we built houses there. But we must also be aware that there were interventions of that nature over time. There's instances where people were moved from Alexander to Bramfisher. They were moved from Alexander to Deepslot with an intention to try and decant the area and reduce the numbers. But the numbers never get reduced. It's a challenge, and it requires a comprehensive strategy. But for now, that's what we are doing. We hope that once we are ready, we'll start moving, and once we have raised enough money for top structures, then we will start building houses in that area.
Okay, Patrick, you calling us from Pretoria. What's your question quickly? Hi.
Hi, good morning. Clement, I sent you the email on this, on what I'm going to ask now. Mr. Mayor, regarding the transport challenges affecting persons with disability. I've stayed in Joburg, and I've noticed there's some challenges there, mostly in buses that can cater for those who are wheelchair bound and those who are blind or any other disability. There's quite a few buses to accommodate persons with disability.
Okay.
That's one. Two, Clement, the issue, Kenny Kunene, was he aware of that? Was he going to ask him to step down if he hasn't resigned? And when can we see him replacing the MMC? And is he aware of any corrupt activities that were taking place in that department that he was leading?
All right. Thank you so much for that, Patrick. Mayor, you can take that.
Thanks. I think the city has been quite, over time, has been quite responsive to matters of disability. Perhaps the number of buses, as he says, may not be sufficient, but the buses are there, both in Area Vyaya and in Metrobus. We have made sure that we cater for people with disability. So perhaps maybe what is experienced is that maybe they're not as sufficient as you'd want to. But I know that we are replenishing our fleet at Metrobus, and I think that matter will also be addressed there. But I'll raise it also with the department to say there's a concern about the number of our fleet that is responding to disability. In relation to newspaper articles around corruption in the Department of Transport, we have noted the matter, and of course we have taken steps that investigations will be undertaken in that area. It's not only transport. I think there was also concerns raised around City Power and all other entities, and we are acting on those. An investigation, a forensic investigation has been instituted, and we hope that the results will show whether indeed the extent at which the graft and corruption has been happening there. And I think it's our responsibility as government to act as and when there are allegations of this nature, so that we can get to the root cause. We try our level best as the city. We have established a disciplinary board that deals with matters of that nature, so that officials can be charged, can be disciplined. Over and above, we also have a department called GFIS, which helps us with investigations, and they can then present reports. And GFIS has been quite helpful in detecting some of the issues that are being raised either by whistleblowers or by staff within the organization. So we are acting on that matter. As it relates to the MMC of Transport, Councillor Kunene, I think all of us know that the matters came around last week, and he then resigned officially on Sunday as a councillor and also as an MMC. But the matters were already on our table as the mayor. And of course, the president of his party then responded before we can respond that they were going to ask him to resign, which he duly did on Sunday, and I received the speaker received the letter of resignation, and the speaker informed me. At the right time, we will announce the still processes internally that we have to deal with, and once we are done, we'll give announcement on the replacements of the MMCs.
All right, 10 minutes now before 11 o'clock. Ephraim, Notemba, Malebu, Fernando, I'll start with your calls after the break.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What will the next 6 months, next year look like for citrus growers in this country?
In the short term, Mandy, we try to mitigate risk. South Africa is already the biggest exporter of citrus in the Southern Hemisphere. So if we move 7-8% of our volume into Europe or UK or maybe Middle East, that could potentially have a knock-on effect in all the cartons exported to that market. So it's not just the 6 or the 7%. It can actually be a lot worse for everybody in the country.
Perif van der Merwe is the chairperson of the Citrus Growers Association.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
Get ready, Mzansi. Powerball has rolled over to a massive 100 million rand guaranteed jackpot this Tuesday. You heard right. Play Powerball for a guaranteed 100 million rand jackpot today, and you could hit it lucky. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial star 120 star 7529 hash for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
It all starts with FNB Private. With secure, easy payments for a hassle-free overseas holiday. Tap, swipe, or go digital with your FNB Visa cards. Earn rewards when using your FNB credit card or global account debit and virtual card. You can even fund your global account on the FNB app while traveling. Make the most of every moment. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TC's earn rules and limits apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. 702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes before 11 o'clock, let's continue with your calls. Please be quick and sharp so that we can get as many questions as possible and we can get the mayor to answer them. Ephraim, let's start with you. You are in Alex. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you and the mayor?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm good. Before I go to my 4 questions, the mayor...
I can't take 4 questions, Ephraim, ne? So I'm going to cut you if you don't do quick. So please give me 2 quick questions.
Okay. Clement, my questions are repeatedly, Mayor, because he's moving on the stations. The same questions I've roasted all over the time. The roads that connects Alex to Sandton is in Wynberg, the bridge. It's not open yet. It's been more than 5 years now. What's the problem with that? The containers in Alexander. People are fighting for those containers. Can the mayor have a plan even today that they can do what with those containers? Because people are fighting for them. And the other thing, the e-hailing. What do you have a plan with the e-hailing? If you don't have, we are here as the leaders of e-hailing. We can assist the mayor what to do to help Johannesburg for its way of going.
Got it. Ephraim, Mayor, can I ask you to quickly respond to that and then I can go to other questions?
Let me deal with the question around containers quickly. There are people that were approved to be moved. I think some of them are from Madala Hostel as part of the refurbishment that we were doing. Unfortunately, there were other issues that happened with change of governments, etc., and delays. But where we are now, MMC Mabaso is now moving on the matter so that those that needed to be moved will be moved to those containers so that the work to refurbish Madala Hostel can begin immediately. So there's work that's being done in relation to that, and I can assure Ephraim he will see a change quite soon. We have also dealt with the issue around, I think he's asking around the issue of the road connection. The road will find the final decision as to when it's going to be opened, and we'll communicate that to the media. I suppose there's still some work that the department is doing around that part. We're not responsible as the city in terms of other public transport systems, as you'd know. But we'll raise this with the Department of National Transport as to how do we deal with the e-hailing issue, or perhaps we'll also ask Ephraim, as he says, he has proposals and suggestions to approach the city through the mayor's office, and we will take them to the Department of Transport.
Notemba in Johannesburg, quickly, what's your question? Hi,
Mr. Mayor.
Hi,
as a citizen of Johannesburg, I do my best to report things that are illegal or seem illegal as I see them, but nothing gets done. And I'll go straight to one that is very, very disheartening. I have been reporting a squatter camp that is developing on the on-ramp from Selby to the M1, Mike 1. There is a person that is staying there, or people. You even find them having hanged their clothing. They cook, they do all sorts of things. I have reported, I don't know how many times. Nothing gets done. The traffic department just leaves them. And I'm sure some traffic officers go past there now and then, all the time. Why should we as citizens do our best and the city not do what it's supposed to do?
Notemba, thank you for your question. Mayor?
Notemba, do not tire, and I appreciate the efforts that you are taking. And we'll take up the matter. I think in the last week there were raids that we did under the bridges to deal with people who live under the bridges. So we dealt with that, but the trick is how do we sustain it? And I think that has been the weakness within the department of our Johannesburg Metropolis Department, and we'll have to improve. I was saying to them this morning as we're dealing with illegal street traders in Jabulani, and there was the regional director was saying that they removed them today. 2 days later, they are all back. And I was saying to JMPD, the easiest thing to do is to deploy an officer. Just one officer around the block. It might make a difference. And so we need to change the way we do things and the way we think. So JMPD is one of our important stakeholder to help us deal with this thing. So, Notemba, thanks. We'll attend to the matter immediately as we leave here, and the officers will go there. But it needs to be sustained.
Hi, Clement. Please ask the mayor what the plan is, because there's an informal settlement next to Eskom Megawatt Park. It's very close to the highway. It really is an accident waiting to happen. What is the city planning to do with that? And also on the M1, either going north or south, there are people who are living under the bridges. Literally between the M1 North and the M1 South, by Glenhove, there's people who have set up and are sleeping there. It's extremely dangerous. The police, Metro Police, will set up cameras there, but they will do nothing about those people.
Mayor?
That's true. Megawatt Park is part of those that we are acquiring court orders, and we are also in conversation with Eskom. So we are together. We have approached the court so that we can get a court order, and we will deal with that. It's not. It's really on the freeway, and anything can happen. And she's correct. The second part, we are dealing with the bridges. As I said, I think 2 weeks ago, we had an operation dealing with people under the bridges. All what we need to do is to be consistent and sustain the operation. And that's all what we need. And then people will get used to say they can't be sleeping over there because the city will act. However, I must also say, Clement, there's a big problem in Johannesburg of homelessness. And I think we need everyone. We need private sector, we need government, civil society, so that all of us together can come in and say, what are the best solutions that we can put in place? We do have limited shelters, and they've also shown not to be effective, as some of the homeless people don't want to be in shelters. So there's a number of challenges about homelessness, which I think it requires all of society to respond and also contribute towards helping government that we find an everlasting solution on this matter.
I've got 3 more questions, Mayor. Can I put them to you maybe after the break, like 3 more questions from listeners, or are we running out of time?
No, it's okay.
Is it fine? Just 3 more.
No, we'll take
after the news. All right, thank you so much. It's 11:05.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers, including Pick n Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection, and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance. We insure your business's
future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So ensure your businesses.
Financial security, BT.
With Bright today, contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright, approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. We begin with breaking news this hour. Murder-accused Tiffany Nicole Meek has been denied bail. The Roodepoort Magistrates Court delivered judgment a short while ago. Meek is accused of murdering her 11-year-old son, Jaden Lee Meek, in May of this year. The state insists that the case against her was not strong and it opposed her release on bail, but Meek's lawyers criticized the state's evidence, describing it as flawed and inconsistent. Magistrate Annalene Africa says there were some inconsistencies during the bail application with some of the information which was provided to the court by Meek.
If applicant has the ability to deceive without hesitation, then surely the applicant has the ability to influence witnesses, especially her family. She will likewise also have the ability to undermine or jeopardize the objectives of the proper functioning of the criminal justice system.
We move to other news just in. There have been some major developments in the case against the suspects arrested in connection with the murder of musician Sefoka, popularly known as DJ Somebody. Two more high-profile cases have been linked to controversial businessman Katiso KT Molefe and the hitman that he's been charged with. Molefe returned to the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. Sefoka was killed in November of 2022 with two of his bodyguards in Woodmead. Police have confirmed that they are now charged with two other cases. That's the suspects in this case. These include the murder of popular Soweto businessman Hector Buthelezi, popularly known as DJ Vintos. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate.
We are linking the AK-47 as well as the three pistols that were found on the Amand Swart case and were linked to his case. We are linking them to the killing of DJ Vintos, who's known as Hector Buthelezi. We are linking that same AK-47 to the killing of DJ Somebody.
In the courts now, the 6 men arrested in connection with the Lusikisiki mass murder are expected back in court today, where their trial gets underway. Yesterday, the men appeared in court where they pleaded not guilty. They face charges including conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping and robbery with aggravating circumstances. They were arrested following the deaths of 18 relatives in Ngobozana village in Lusikisiki last year. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The families of the victims from the Lusikisiki massacre will get to hear some aspects of the brutal murders of their loved ones. They say they are expecting this trial to shed some light, particularly the reason why the 18 people were killed in such a brutal manner. The matter will be heard in the Mthatha High Court. However, it is sitting in the Lusikisiki Regional Court. This is so that the families do not travel a long distance to attend the trial. All accused Mzugi Sindamase, Siphosokolo Mayekethe, Aphiwe Ndende, Bonga Yinsa, Mawethu Nomdlwembu, and Songezovuma pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And in other news now, the Cooperative Governance Department wants the public to share opinions on whether it wants increases to salaries of part-time councillors. The department says this would be so they are able to focus only on their jobs as public representatives. This is one of the topics the department has been considering as it undergoes a process to review the 1998 White Paper on Local Governance. Yesterday, it held a women and youth dialogue on this topic at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg. Thabiso Koba was there.
Municipalities in South Africa are graded from 1 to 6. 1 represents small and poor municipalities, while grade 6 is for metros. Councillor salaries are also determined using this grade, with metro councillors being paid the most. Part-time councillors are usually found in lower grade municipalities, where they have to supplement their low salaries with another job. Cooperative Governance Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa says part-time councillors are naturally not always available to their communities due to secondary commitments.
If you want a working local government space, why not all councillors become full-time people so that the communities can hold them accountable fully?
The deadline for submissions on the Local Government White Paper review is on the 31st of July. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,320.94 an ounce. The rand is at 17.91 to the dollar, 23.89 to the pound, 20.72 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.05 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South between Parktown and the double-decker section. That's due to a major accident that happened right after Carr Street. Please be on the lookout there. It's causing about a 20-minute hold-up, and we still have got a backlog on the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road.
Clear skies in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures peaking at highs of 18 degrees across the province. The top story in EWN this hour. Murder-accused mother Tiffany Nicole Meek has been denied bail in a judgment delivered in the Roodepoort Magistrates Court.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Your stories,
Your questions.
702 listens. You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thanks for staying with us here on 702. We've asked the Mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero, to stay with us for just 3 more minutes, just so I can at least put some of your questions up. So I'm going to take some WhatsApp voice notes, get the Mayor to respond, and then we'll get into our World of Work feature.
Hi, Clement. Can you ask the Mayor what's so difficult about controlling the taxi drivers and basically the taxi drivers on Winnie Mandela Drive going towards Four Ways? They park, however, wherever there's a bus stop, it's their own parking. Now they occupy those lanes, and you end up using one lane. Why? What's the difficulty? You'll find them parking there, and there's a metro police down the road. They've got the roadblock. Why can't they just organize things?
Just a quick one, Mr. Clement. What is the city of Joburg doing, or what is their plan on people who will be pushing their trolleys on the streets, on the road, and disrupting the traffic, and at sometimes disturbing people who will be driving? Yeah, that's my short question. I just don't know how to put it in the right way. But what is the plan? Thank you. Last one here.
Hi, Clement. Did here? The mayor says there's a big problem of homelessness in Johannesburg. If they can deal with the drugs, all the drug dens and the people selling drugs and whatever, 75% of the problem in Johannesburg will be solved. All these things that are happening, it's because of illegal trades, the trading of drugs and illegal things that people are doing. Those people that don't want to be in shelters are the people that are using drugs. They are drug addicts, most of them. We are having problems with drug addiction in Johannesburg. So, Mayor, please, the drugs.
Mayor, your responses?
Thanks. Let's deal with the last part, which refers to homelessness and drugs. Homelessness is not necessarily as a result of people who are addicts. There's a number of categories of people who are homeless. But yes, I do take the point around drug and substance abuse, which is a major issue that is affecting the country, in fact. And there are a number of interventions that government is doing, including taking people to rehab with an intention to help them get out of drugs. The interventions that the city itself is doing on programs on substance abuse and drug abuse. And there's also constant raids. I think even when we did the raid at the Ginger Park, we did discover some drugs and some nyaupe. And one guy who was selling drugs was arrested on the spot. Unfortunately, the one with nyaupes was able to escape the police on the day. So there is some efforts that are continuously being done to deal with drugs, but society must also play a particular role. You do have people who are homeless because they thought they will find opportunities and greener pastures in Johannesburg, and they ended up being homeless. I do have met some of them who sleeps in our parks and everywhere else, who said they had to leave their rural homes to come to Johannesburg with the hope of finding employment so that they can feed their families at home. But when they arrived here, those greener pastures were not found. In terms of the taxes, we've got a serious problem with taxes. I think we're also closing about a few bus ranks inside the city which are illegal. We are acting on them. The one on William Nicol is something that at least they've alerted us, and I suppose JMPD probably is aware, and we'll have a conversation with them as I leave the studio so that we can close that thing. They are not allowed to park anywhere. There's designated areas for taxis. There's ranks, and we have consistently communicated with taxi associations, who, by the way, we do have a very good relationship with the taxi associations in Johannesburg, and I will encourage the taxi association responsible for that route to also call order on their members so that they can comply with our laws. Otherwise, we'll have to react quite harshly, and we'll have to be forced to impound their vehicles, and that's what we'll do as we leave this place. But we'll have a conversation with the taxi association. The issues of the waste pickers, we had a program to try and work with them so that we can direct their work. Of course, it's an economy. They are doing good work because they're also helping us with waste. And Pick It Up had a program to work with them, and I suppose the program is still there. We just have to try and find ways of providing proper trolleys and proper training so that they do not become a nuisance, especially to other road users, so that there's proper coordination. So I will take it up once more with Pick It Up so that they can reorganize the program itself. But we think it's a good program because there's an intervention that the waste pickers are doing, and it has created an economy, it has created some opportunities for those that are dealing in waste. The people in the waste industry normally say waste it's money. So I suppose it will help those that are unemployed and find ways for them to survive. But let's do it properly. So I will speak to Pick It Up so that we can coordinate the program better.
All right. Mayor, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for giving us an extra couple of minutes, and we'll bring you back at some point when you have time for some more engagements with our listeners. I really appreciate your time.
No, anytime. I'm happy to be at 7:02.
All right. It's 14 minutes now after 11 o'clock.
7:02.
World of Work.
All right, time now for our World of Work feature. And today we are having a conversation on our World of Work feature about mid-year check-ins. In fact, your career plans or professional goals. And we're doing a mid-year check-in. And I'm asking, are those still on track? Right? Are your career plans or professional goals still on track? Over 80% of people don't follow through on their New Year's resolutions. At the start of the year, many people made career plans. Some of these plans have not been fulfilled. They've not been followed through. So if your career needs to get back on track, or if you're wondering what career path to follow, mid-year is probably the ideal time to reflect and reset and turn things around. So what did you set to achieve this year with your career, with your profession, and how is that going? Is your career still on track for the rest of the year? I'd like you to share your experiences with us on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Ari Katz is the CEO of Boston City Campus, who's going to guide us through this chat. Thank you for making time for us, Ari. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Hope you're well, and thanks for giving me the opportunity.
So in your experience, what kind of career resolutions, people typically set at the start of the year, and why do they often fall apart?
So it's very interesting, Clement. I heard in the introduction you said that 80% of people that don't follow through on their career decisions that they make at the beginning of the year, and that's absolutely true. But I think there's one fundamental difference in 2025, and that is that in 2025, we need to be very cognizant of the fact that AI is changing the world very, very rapidly. And if you didn't follow through on your career aspirations or career resolutions in January, it's absolutely urgent that you sit down now and you take cognizance of that and you say, what am I actually going to do to make sure that I'm employed, not in 10 years' time, I'm talking about in 2 years' time. Because there's a recent report that was produced by McKinsey and was corroborated by the Future of Jobs report and the World Economic Forum, where they say that 40 to 50% of jobs in the next 2 years, we're not talking 10 years, we're talking 2 years, around the corner, you're probably going to be, if you haven't upskilled, you're probably going to be irrelevant in the job that you're doing right now. And so if ever there was a time to really sit up and say, whoa, it's time to revisit my beginning of the year resolutions or my mid-year resolutions, believe me, now is the time and the urgency that's associated with that.
So how does one measure how far they have come, like with their career, and versus, of course, the plans that they've made at the beginning of the year?
So I think what's really important is to relook, first of all, if you did make plans at the beginning of the year, where are you holding in terms of what have you actually done? Because it's very easy to make plans and put things on a piece of paper or put them into your head. But the real question is, what is the action that you've taken and how far have you come in terms of achieving that? What have you done in terms of developing critical thinking skills, in terms of upgrading your own career, your own job? How are you going to make sure? And this is the question that I love to ask people who are working in corporates. We're doing a lot of work with companies at the moment where they're developing, interestingly enough, not specific skills, but rather cognitive development, where they're teaching people really thinking skills. And the question I really like to ask people is, in terms of your resolutions that you made, whether it be the beginning of the year or now or whatever, how have you made sure that you are going to be the most important person in the room when you're standing in front of your employer? How are you going to achieve that? And that's a tough question to ask oneself and a tough question to answer. But you really need to ask yourself that question. How am I going to make sure that I'm going to be the most important person in the room? And is that because I've acquired the most knowledge? Is that because I've registered for various programs that are going to make me stand out? Is it because of something unique that I'm doing in the work environment that's going to make me stand up? What is it? And obviously it's different for everybody and where you are in your career, whether you're a student who's going to be graduating, whether you're employed and you're going to be looking to move up the food chain, whatever it may be. How am I going to make sure that I'm relevant in 2026 and 2027?
011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 702-1702. Please share your experiences with us in as far as your career plans, professional goals are concerned. What did you set at the beginning of the year as a professional goal, and how is that going so far? I mean, there are a lot of people who at the beginning of the year have professional goals. There are certain career plans that you have. How far are you? Are you still in the process of achieving that? Call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note. Now, I want to know, Ari, what are some of the key signs that one needs a career shift or even skill enhancement, or maybe they want to complete a professional, pivot? Because at this point of the year, that's when you have had at least half of the year done, and that gives you enough sort of evidence about, okay, am I into this or not? So what are the signs we should be looking out for in order to determine whether you need to pivot, whether you need that career shift?
So I think there are lots of signs in terms of whether they be personal signs. So, for example, Sunday night comes and, wow, I really don't want to go to the office tomorrow. Or, hang on, I'm really struggling in my job at the moment. Or I see that technology's taking over, but I'm not getting there. So there are lots of those signs. But the real question is, what do I do? What do I do practically? So if I'm listening to the show right now and I'm saying to myself, what do I do? I want to find out about the future. How do I do that? Where do I start? I mean, I think that's probably a good question to ask. And if you're not sure about where to start, so go online. There are a number of tools, and they're free. So, one thing that we're blessed with the internet is that there's lots of free tools out there. But, I mean, we have in our own organization tools like Career Compass, for example, where you can go on there, you can do a basic assessment, and it sort of tells you, where you should be going, kind of thing, in terms of the things that you like, what you're predisposed to, etc. But more important than that, it has a section where you can do what we call career exploration, where you can go on and you can click on it and you can say, well, at the moment I think I want to study accounting, or I want to enter the field of accounting, or I'm in accounting and I want to change. So what are the related careers that are to that? Well, if I'm a bookkeeper or a credit control clerk or whatever it may be, what are the related careers? What I need to do in terms of getting there? What's the demand in the market? How much do those people earn? What kind of work do they do? So I can become knowledgeable about other careers that are out there. And the one thing that I find often is that people aren't aware of the plethora of careers that are actually out there, because of the digital age that we've come into. And not only the number of careers, but the way one can access them in terms of whether it be the mode of learning or the mode of delivery. We're living in an age where I can sit in my garage in South Africa and I can sell services in the UK and the US, etc. So you're not limited by your geography, and you're also not limited by your mode of learning. So in the old days, if you wanted to study something new, you'd have to take off work and go and attend lectures. Today, I can do it online. I can do it part-time. I can do it full-time. And there are many modes of learning today. And so I can step one, if you had to ask for advice, step one would be career exploration. Find out what's going on out there. Step two is to say, okay, now I've got an idea of what I want to do. How do I achieve it? And bear in mind all the different modes of learning to actually gain the knowledge and skills to achieve that particular career path.
How do people identify those opportunities, though? So how do they check out these in-demand skills and emerging opportunities so that they can move ahead in the workspace? Because some people do want to explore, as you say.
Exactly.
What should they look out for? Where are the platforms they can check that out?
So there are many on the internet. I mean, if you don't mind, I'll mention that we, for example, at Boston, at all our 47 colleges have got a tool called Career Compass. You don't have to be a Boston student. It's completely free. It's a service to the community. You just walk in there and you tell them, listen, I want to do Career Compass, and I'll sit you in front of a computer, and you can spend as long as you want doing career exploration. But if you aren't near one of the 47 Bostons, you can do it online. Just go online, look to career exploration. The advantage of an organized tool is that it lists different careers for you. And then you can click on that and you can say, oh, that sounds interesting to me. But one has to take cognizance of it. I mean, Clement, let me give you an example in your own industry. In your own industry, in the broadcasting industry, there's a trend these days to replace the newsreader with AI. Now, that might come as a bit of a shock, but it's happening. And so the question is, if I'm a newsreader, how am I going to adapt to that? So what are the new tools and techniques that I need to be the person who's prompting the AI as opposed to the person who's reading the news? Just as a simple little example I'm giving you, but just to show you how relevant it is in every single career. In the accounting career, just as an example, I saw last week in the UK, the big four accounting firms have laid off 100,000 clerks and replaced them with AI. So what do I do? That's the question. And hence, career exploration is step one. Step two is understanding the modes of learning that are available for me to get career ready for the future. And the positive of it is that there are a lot of new jobs out there and a lot of new opportunities. So whilst people are thinking that AI is going to replace my job, in fact, that's not true. What's really going to happen is that AI is going to create a whole bunch of new jobs. And you, the individual, need to be the guy who's ahead of the curve so that you're available to grab those new jobs.
Yeah. Let's go to WhatsApp voice notes.
Good morning, Clement and the team. Yeah, man, life is unfair. Life is unfair indeed. I'm now at the point whereby I can tell you that when this current year commences, I was at the point whereby I wrote specific list of the stuff that I would like to achieve specifically in this year. However, up to this far, I can tell you that none of those I've been able to achieve, and it is hurting, I'm now at a state of despondent as a result of that. Yeah, this is Maxwell in Q.
Yeah, Maxwell, thank you for that. But don't give up. Don't be despondent. You can still push. Another one on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, well, I wanted to enroll on a course, Advanced Diploma in Estates Planning. My previous company had promised to pay for my fees, and on the last minute, they changed their mind and told me there's a budget problem. Luckily, I found another job in May where I'm dealing with trusts and estates and will drafting, and I plan on enrolling next year at UFS just to upskill myself. So, Ari, there are some people that are
That's great.
which is great, right? Yes, things didn't go as planned.
May I just comment? Let me comment on the first voice note that you said. So the gentleman said that they made some plans have been with you, and up until now it's been frustrating. He hasn't managed to achieve those plans. I mean, that was the gist of, I think, what he was saying. So maybe the answer to that is, and obviously I don't know the full context of what his plans were and what went wrong, etc. But maybe one has to say to oneself, hang on, is there another way of achieving those same plans? And again, it comes back to that career exploration. Is there another way I can achieve it? Or who do I need to reach out to who can assist me in actually achieving those plans? You know, and maybe it's a helpline, maybe it's a lifeline kind of situation, calling out saying, listen, maybe one needs to just be discussing it with a mentor to be saying, what else can I be doing to achieve these plans that I'm trying to achieve, but I'm just not getting there and I'm getting despondent. And it's a sounding board more than anything else that one needs.
Yeah. So how do people, because there are some people who, and I wonder what tips you have for people who want to find a way to create a focused roadmap for the rest of 2025. So things may not have gone as they had planned. Maybe they've not been able to even achieve some of the goals that they had. And now they're thinking, do I still have time for the rest of the year? Can I still go ahead and push to achieve those goals? How do they do that?
Absolutely. There's definitely enough time. I mean, we're literally only beginning of August, so there's a lot of time left. For those who want to study, there's a second semester that's about to commence at most universities, and most colleges have a second semester intake, and one can register for whether it's undergrad or a postgrad or whatever it may be. But again, as I said, I think first step is career exploration. Know where you want to go and what you want to do, and the only way you're going to find that out is by gaining knowledge of what are the careers that are out there and how do I navigate them. And as I said, I'm inviting any member of the public for a free career assessment and career exploration. Spend as much time as you need on the computer, finding out what are the alternatives, how do I get there, what is it going to take to get there, etc. And understand that funding is often an issue, but there are ways and means around navigating the funding challenges of studying. And we can have another discussion around that. It's a much bigger topic. But yes, that's it. But one of the encouraging things is that, if you read this World Economic Forum report, what it talks about is that the future skills are going to be also, besides the tech side, is going to be human related. So people who have cognitive development in terms of problem solving, critical thinking, and the human touch in terms of empathy and communication, etc. So maybe it's also something to be thinking about. How do I develop my soft skills, as they call it, instead of only focusing on tech.
Yeah.
Just another thought.
True. Ari Katz, thank you so much for guiding us through this chat. He's the CEO of Boston City Campus. That takes us to 11:30. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, we're going to focus on our health and wellness feature. And today, we are talking about hepatitis. Yesterday, in fact, marked World Hepatitis Day, the day used to shine a light on a group of viral infections that often go unnoticed, but they actually claim many lives all over the world, and especially here in South Africa. So if you've got questions around this, get them ready after the headlines. Mongezi, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. It's still the lead story this hour. Murder accused Tiffany Meek has been denied bail. The Roodepoort Magistrates Court delivered the judgment a short while ago. Now, Meek is accused of murdering her 11-year-old son, Jaden Lee, in May this year. The state insists it has a strong case against Meek and it successfully opposed her release on bail. Meanwhile, outside the court, some community members from surrounding areas in the west of Johannesburg say they're extremely happy with the outcome. Let's turn to this now. There have been some major developments in the case against the suspects arrested in connection with the murder of musician Oupa Sefoke, popularly known as DJ Sambodi. 2 more high-profile cases have been linked to the controversial businessman Katiso KT Molefe and the hitman he's been charged with. Molefe returned to the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. Sefoka was killed in November of 2022 with 2 of his bodyguards in Woodmead. Police have confirmed that they are now charged with 2 other cases. And still in the courts, the 6 men arrested in connection with the Lusikisiki mass murder are expected back in court today, where their trial gets underway. Now, the men appeared in court yesterday, where they pleaded not guilty. They face charges including conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping, robbery with aggravating circumstances. They were all arrested following the deaths of 18 relatives in a village in Lusikisiki last year. Those are the headlines. There's EWN and more at 12, or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling on the M1 South, we've got heavy traffic volumes. This is due to an accident that happened just before Marlborough Drive. Please be on the lookout there. The M1 South continues to be gridlocked this morning. This is just as you approach the Crown turned off, and that's due to that major accident at the double-decker section. Delays coming out of Empire Road. While traveling in Kensington, you might want to avoid Albertina Sisulu Road. This is due to a protest that's taking place in the area approaching Kitchener Avenue. While traveling on the N3 North, we've got some issues between Van Buren Road and the Gilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 South approaching the Gilulis turn-off, as well as on the N12 West towards the Gilulis, just as you come out of the Edenville Road exit. Heading towards Southgate Mall, do expect delays on the M1 North approaching the Uncle Charlie's interchange. This is due to another accident along this route. Please be on the lookout and continue driving with care. Otherwise, I'm Amo Ramila Karabujali. We'll have your next traffic update at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
There's a gap on wages, but I understand a source of considerable dispute is the rostering system. You've changed that. Solidarity are saying on behalf of pilots that the system they had before was more conducive to them being able to strike. What is SAFE's response to that? And do you have any wriggle room or negotiating space on that?
You know, we don't really wish to get into a lot of the particulars of the negotiation. Suffice to say that the contentions at hand really do surround the standard matters that are often discussed between employers and employees. The systems are very equitable.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
If you want to know about the heart and art of jazz, look no further than the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, a grand ensemble of over 50 world-class acts across 4 stages for 3 whole days. That's right, from the 26th, 27th and 28th of September. The Sandton Convention Center will be demure and sophisticated as the fine Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 takes you deep into the heart, the art and splendor of jazz. Take me there. Book your seat via Ticketmaster now.
Heads up, Gauteng motorists. Sanral is implementing nighttime roadworks on the N3 between Geldernes and Baklu from May 20th, 2025 to January 31st, 2027. Expect partial lane closures from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. One lane will stay open in each direction. Please plan your trips, slow down and follow all signs and signals, and exercise caution when navigating affected areas. Sunral remains committed to improving safety and the quality of our national roads. Sunral, an agency of the Department of Transport.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult at 3,469. Just had a fantastic 2-hour meeting. It was so productive that we accomplished nearly as much as I could have done with one well-written email.
Hating the corporate 9 to 5? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's easy and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
702 and corporates that care with Hirsch's are talking about Hirsch's involvement in the Claire Ellis Brown preschool.
So the Claire's Brown School is just the most beautiful little school. This wonderful teacher came through called Sandra McLaren. She said to me something which I don't know if I should have done, but I did, was come through and visit the school. And the school had a beautiful garden, and growing up in a flat, you didn't have a garden. These little kids that live in the area now have somewhere to go and play, which just seems so special. So I thought, how can we get involved with that. And one of the things I found out was they're looking at their books, their rates were like through the roof, like 6,000 Rand a month in rates, which was just crazy. So after finding people to speak to at the city council and irritating them for months and months, we got the rate reduced to 100 Rand a year and backdated 10 years.
Wow.
And I thought, geez, we can make it a little bit of a difference here, which was awesome. Then we started fixing up the school and painting up new kitchens and finding food for the kids. And we've been doing that for over 20 years.
Hirsch's, proud to help grow bright futures, one child at a time. Learn more at hirsches.co.za. 702. Let's walk the talk. 702.
Health and wellness.
It's 23 minutes now before 12 o'clock. Let's get into our health and wellness feature now. And as I said earlier on today, we are discussing hepatitis. Yesterday marked World Hepatitis Day, the day used to shine a light on a group of viral infections that often go unnoticed. And in South Africa, in fact, we have made great strides in the testing and treatment for HIV, TB, HPV, but hepatitis still flies under the radar. Types B and C are responsible for about 1.3 million deaths globally each year, with over 2,000 of those in South Africa. And tragically, many people don't even know when they're living with it. So hepatitis can be treated and even cured in some cases. All it takes is a simple blood test, and South African clinics, in fact, already have the right tools. What questions do you have about hepatitis? Do you know a lot about it? Have you ever tested positive for hepatitis, and how have you dealt with it? How have you treated it? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Dr. Clement Manyathela is a molecular genetics expert at Roche Diagnostics, who's joining us on the line now. Dr. Manyathela, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners at home, work, and on the road.
So for those who may not know, what exactly is hepatitis, and what is it, and how do the different types, whether it's A, B, C, D, and E, how do they differ from each other?
All right, so hepatitis is simply known as inflammation of the liver. And this can be caused by various viruses. The one virus is the hepatitis, and it's been categorized by 5 genotypes. So it's hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. It's simply known as that. Hepatitis A and E is contracted through ingestion. So ingesting food where whoever prepared it has not really cleaned their hands. There's been fecal matter passed on, not cleaning your hands after the toilet, or even drinking water that is contaminated with fecal matter, or not washing your hands after changing a diaper and then going on to eat. That's one way of contracting hepatitis A or E. And then the most dangerous hepatitis and the most prevalent hepatitis that we are seeing in South Africa is hepatitis B and C. And that is contracted through blood, so sharing of razors, sharing of needles, and it is also through bodily fluids, so through sexual intercourse.
Okay. So, hepatitis, we are often told that it's often referred to as a silent killer. From a genetic or medical standpoint, why does it go undetected in so many people?
Sure. I think the first route that I would say why we use the word silent is in the way there's no noise around it. Last year, Roche Diagnostics did a survey across the globe around hepatitis, and it was found that many South Africans don't know what hepatitis is, and those that do know think that it is not risky. And then when we look at the numbers, South Africans, 3.5 million South Africans have hepatitis B, and then 400,000 South Africans have hepatitis C. Of those South Africans, 80% don't even know that they are infected. We also have 2,000 deaths within our country per year. So when you look at the numbers that are being called out around this illness versus the awareness, it's going by silent. And this is even just leaving out how silently it affects you. When you're infected with hepatitis B or C, in the very beginning, it is asymptomatic, so you don't have any symptoms, and you yourself are able to continue to spread it. And only later on, if it doesn't clear naturally, you may then develop liver disease or liver cancer. And there's the silence in the word.
Okay. And then, so there are certain people then, would you say, that are genetically more susceptible to the chronic hepatitis or complications like, as you say, liver cancer?
So contracting hepatitis B or C, we are all at risk. It's not necessarily due to your genetics. It could be due to lifestyle.
Yeah.
It could be just being exposed to hepatitis B or C by being exposed to blood. Doctors, for example, work in the hospital or when we work in the lab, we're expected to take the hepatitis B vaccine because it is that there is a risk of contracting it. Then there comes a point where most people who contract hepatitis B or C would clear it, but there's a 25% population that would not clear it, and this would then progress into liver disease or chronic hepatitis or even liver cancer. And the factors that make those 25%, it is due to genetics and environment and immune system.
Okay. And then are certain people, so there are no people that you would say are genetically more susceptible to that, okay, as you say. We already have the diagnostic equipment for HIV and TB. Can you please just explain to us how these platforms can also be used to test for hepatitis B and C? Can we do that at home?
That's a really good question, Clement. So across the board throughout South Africa, the government has been really, really good in having HIV being tested and treated. And then on a large scale of your viral load and EID testing platforms within the large hospitals and even collection sites and smaller clinics where it's taken to the larger laboratories, there exist molecular instruments. These are the genetic instruments that test the actual disease. Currently, they are sitting there testing HIV, and there's been the inclusion of TB, and more recently, the inclusion of HPV, which causes cervical cancer. What this means is that our country doesn't necessarily have to invest in larger infrastructure because the infrastructure is there. Our country just needs to open up these platforms to a wider menu and include hepatitis B. The machine is there. All you need is the test. And because we have such a good track record, we've learned so much through HIV, and the health system is there through HIV from the point of diagnostics through to treatment. We just need to latch on hepatitis on the existing platform.
All right, I've got some questions coming through from some of our listeners on 011-883-0702. That's where you can call. Let me start with these ones that are coming through on 072-702-1702. Anonymous says, "Hi Clement, I have been diagnosed with hepatitis B and I need some help. Is there somewhere I can go so that it can be cured? I'm living in fear." That's a question there from Anonymous. Dr. Malebe?
Yes. Thank you so much. And firstly to Anonymous, my heartfelt thoughts are with you. What I would like to say to you is this is not a death sentence, so do not live in fear. That's first and foremost. Being diagnosed, you're actually one of the few in South Africa. Many people are living undiagnosed. And that's why there's a call for people to get screened. Don't wait for symptoms. Just go in, go to your nearest hospital, go to your clinic, go to your private doctor and ask to be screened for hepatitis B or C, because this isn't something that is offered immediately. You have to use your own voice and alert your doctor that you want to be screened in order to save your life. And then Anonymous, back to your fear around the virus. Not everybody that contracts hepatitis B will lead to death. But what I would say is definitely go and get treated. In the absence of treatment, you are putting your liver at risk. There is treatment. Hepatitis B treatment is antiretroviral. It's the same ARVs that an individual would take if they were HIV positive. Unfortunately, hepatitis B will not clear from your system, but fortunately, in the presence of ARVs, and if you continue your treatment, your chances of regaining your health and relieving those symptoms are quite high. You're able to suppress the viral load, the hepatitis B viral load. And then I'd also like to use the moment now, in case anybody out there is wondering about hepatitis C or is positive for hepatitis C. Hepatitis C is curable. So if you test positive for hepatitis C, please speak to a healthcare practitioner. They will put you on treatment, and after a few weeks, that hepatitis C will pass through your system and you'll be clear.
Got it. All right. Another question here says, hi, Clement. I have lupus. Recently, my doctors have detected possible autoimmune hepatitis. Please, can you ask your guest to explain what exactly this is and also the consequences?
Yeah. So, as I said, Clement, and your listeners are asking really, really great questions, and I think it's great for the public to also learn more about the disease. Initially, in my statement, I mentioned hepatitis simply means inflammation of the liver. And then the virus, there are different ways in which an individual can get hepatitis, the disease. The first is these viral infections that we mentioned, hepatitis A to E. The other could be through chemical consumption. So excess alcohol consumption can cause your liver to be inflamed and therefore also cause liver disease, and also through medicines and chemicals. And in the case of the listener that's asked the question where it's autoimmune, in that case it means the body is almost turning on itself and attacking the liver, causing the inflammation of the liver.
Okay. It's 12 minutes now before 12 o'clock. I'm going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the chat with more of your questions. Keep them coming. You can send a WhatsApp voice note or give us a call.
It all starts with FNB Private. Diversify your portfolio to grow your wealth. Gain global exposure through shares or unit trusts on the FNB app. Tap into international investments and tax-efficient offshore trusts to build your legacy. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSB and credit provider. FNB International Trustees, FNB IT registration number 3080. Licensed by the Guernsey Financial Services Commission to conduct fiduciary business. T's and C's apply.
Welcome to the brand new days. Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply. Welcome to the brand new days.
The new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, our thinnest, lightest, and most powerful foldable yet. Open up your world to an ultra-immersive full view of the expansive screen and move effortlessly with its ultra-sleek and ultra-slim design. Pre-order now and double up your storage. 512 gigabytes for the price of 256 gigabytes. Offer valid until 31 July 2025. Join the Unfold Club with the new Galaxy Z Fold 7. T's and C's apply.
Every business begins with heart, but it thrives with support. And no one backs Gauteng's dreamers and doers like 702, Yoko, and you. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko are back to recognize and celebrate the local entrepreneurs making life better. From your favorite coffee spot to the baker who knows your name, from the salon that raised generations to the bold newcomer raising the bar. Just think of the business that made you feel seen. Now's your chance to say, I see you. I see you. Go to primemediaplus.com to view the categories and make your nomination. Because this province isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence. And excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
702
Health and Wellness.
9 minutes before 12 o'clock, we've been talking about hepatitis this morning on our Health and Wellness, and we've got some of your questions coming through on the WhatsApp line.
Hey, Clement, great show. I think the other thing that we need to also expand on is to let sports people
understand the use of steroids impacting the liver. And this is what's happening. I think we don't talk much about it, and maybe your guest can expound more, and so that people, especially young people getting into using steroids, especially the ones that are taken orally, they'll end up in the liver and everything other thing. This is Simon in Veldefien Park.
Thank you, Simon. Dr. Malebe, you can respond to that, and then I'll play another voice note afterward.
Yes, I think that is also great to bring to the party the many ways in which we can develop liver inflammation and thus hepatitis through chemical use, through drug use, and steroids as well.
Okay, here's another one. Okay, we'll come to that in a moment while Abel prepares it. So there was a question here about testing as a routine part of health screenings. Why don't we have that yet in South Africa, especially when technology already exists? Do you think that would assist?
I think that's a brilliant question. And we've seen this taking place in other countries. It would be great for South Africa to expand. When you're going for your health check, when you're doing your HIV, you incorporate hepatitis. I'll use mothers as an example because one of the ways in which hepatitis B can be transmitted is from mother to child. And within the private sector, they are screening in the first trimester for women to test if you have hepatitis B. And if you test positive, they will then inject your child with the vaccine on the first day, within 24 hours, so that child does not develop hepatitis B. It would be great as well if this could be done in the public sector. What we're seeing in the public sector is in government hospitals and clinics is that they are screening for HIV and syphilis within pregnant women, but they have not yet incorporated hepatitis. So talks like these, sharing awareness, being a voice, does help to change policies and country guidelines. Just to use countries that have gone ahead and incorporated mass screening within the public, I'll use Egypt. I always like to use countries within our continent and not look too far to show that it's doable. Within Egypt, they did a mass screening. They started in 2018 where they had a prevalence of 22% of the population had hepatitis C. They did mass screening. They screened over 60 million people. And by now, in 2025, there's a prevalence of less than 1%. So they are well on their way of eliminating hepatitis C. And we can replicate that. We can do mass screenings and give the people that require the treatment the right treatment. This also helps limit the spread because if you know that you've tested positive for hepatitis B, you also change your lifestyle and contain it. We saw this with COVID. We've seen it with HIV. Back in 1995, an HIV positive test was a death threat.
Then
no longer.
Yeah, someone else was asking, hi Clement, I'm sorry if this is a stupid question, but I don't know much about hepatitis, but I see a lot of people link it to sexual intercourse. Is that the only way you can get it?
That's a really, I'm loving the questions coming through here because they're showing that there's a lot of attention. And what I like about that question is it brings in the term stigma. There's a lot of people, why we don't talk about hepatitis when we test positive is because it is assumed that you've gotten it through sexual intercourse and therefore you are promiscuous. It takes us back to where we were back in 1995 when HIV was first a thing and it was spreading. HIV testing was first a thing and it was spreading and there was the stigma attached to that. You can get hepatitis B and C through sexual intercourse, but that is not the only way. As I said, you get it through blood and you also get it through bodily fluids. You get it through sharing razors. You get it through sharing needles. Previously, before blood was being screened for hepatitis, people were contracting hepatitis B and C through blood transfusion. So an individual would have gotten in an accident and received blood and contracted hepatitis B and C because it was not being screened. But through developments and diagnostics, this is no longer the case. Every single blood that is being transfused into another individual has been screened for all infections beforehand.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Pheli Malebe, thank you so much for making time for us. molecular genetics expert at Roche Diagnostics. Thank you so much for making time for us. It's now going up to 3 minutes before 12 o'clock.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
Did you have conversations with Jeffrey Epstein?
At lunch and breakfast and dinner, we'd all sit there together. There was food that was served there. These criminals are very charismatic and clever, trying to make people think that they know everything about the world. He made it out like he was a genius and he was running the world. And then also the only other times I saw him was when he took me into the bedroom. And then I don't know where he was the rest of the time.
Juliet Rose Bryant, author of The Dragon, the Apple, the Butterfly.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Get ready, Mzansi. Powerball has rolled over to a massive 100 million rand guaranteed jackpot this Tuesday. You heard right. Play Powerball for the guaranteed 100 million rand jackpot today and you could hit it lucky. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Close your eyes. Taste the mist from the Sunny Pass waterfall. Feel the calm beneath the waves in Scottsboro. See the giants in East London. Breathe in the air of the Knysna Forest. Hear the roar of adventure in White River. 5 premier resorts, 5 senses, 5 all-inclusive escapes. Visit premierhotels.co.za for T's and C's and bookings.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Coming up
on the Midday Report.
Coming up next, the Midday Report with Tsidi Madia, who's in for Mendiwina. How are you doing, Tsidi?
I'm very good, thank you.
Looking all prettied up.
Just say you're you guys, you and Abel are never nice.
You walked in here and you said, why are you not telling me I'm pretty today?
Because I'm pretty today, darn it. You two are not serious.
Then you are pretty.
And you haven't seen me in a long time. How? But
welcome back.
I'm standing in for Mandy today. We're going to obviously be looking at this KT Molefe story. I couldn't believe your conversation with Malcolm X. How General Lebeya has tied himself into this mess. Why was he doing a media tour? Anyway, so we will obviously look at that. Kate Katiso Molefe was in court today. We'll look at that. We'll also look at the murder of the ANC, former ANC Youth League Secretary General, Sindiso Makaka, a former municipal manager, was back in court. We'll also speak to the ANC in KZN, and then we'll go to Lusiki Siki. The massacre trial also starts. Action SA there seems to be issues in Tshwane, in the coalition in Tshwane, so we'll get a view on that. And of course, we will be speaking about the Madlanga Commission as we wait for it to actually commence.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Tsidi Madia. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the show. We'll be back tomorrow, the Clement Manyathela Show, the Wednesday edition between 9 and 12. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Mungi Zikoko. Murder-accused Tiffany Meek has been denied bail. Now, the Roodepoort Magistrates Court delivered judgment a short while ago. Meek is accused of murdering her 11-year-old son, Jaden Lee, in May this year. The state insists it has a strong case against Meek and it opposed her release on bail. But Meek's lawyers criticized the state's evidence, describing it as flawed and inconsistent. Magistrate Anneline Africa says there were some inconsistencies during the bail application.
If applicant has the ability to deceive without hesitation, then surely the applicant has the ability to influence witnesses, especially her family. She will, without hesitation, then surely the applicant has the ability to influence witnesses, especially her family. She will likewise also have the ability to undermine or jeopardize the objectives of the proper functioning of the criminal justice system.
There have been some major developments in the case against the suspects arrested in connection with the murder of musician Oupa Sefoke, popularly known as DJ Somebody. Two more high-profile cases have been linked to controversial businessman Katiso KT Molefe and the hitman he's been charged with. Molefe returned to the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. Sefoka was killed in November of 2022 with two of his bodyguards in Woodmead. Police have confirmed that they are now charged with two other cases. Khomotso was there and filed this report.
Katiso KT Molefe, the alleged mastermind behind DJ Somebody's murder, returned to the Alexandra Magistrates Court for an update on his bail application, but he now has yet another case to answer to. In addition to the murder of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart, who was killed in April 2023, a case he's been attending in the Pretoria High Court, Molefe has now been charged with a hit on another musician, Hector Buthelezi, known as DJ Vintos. The police's Athlenda Mate.
He was killed in March 2022 outside a nightclub in Orlando East. He was killed in a hail of bullets. At the time, the suspects were driving a BMW X3. His killers were never found.
In the second matter, a man named Don Dindleni was also shot while driving on the N1 highway in March 2023, but only Molefe's co-accused, the alleged hitmen, have been charged with the murder, with police searching for the mastermind. Molefe's matter has been postponed to next week for bail hearing. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News in Alexandra.
Let's stay with the courts. The 6 men arrested in connection with the Lusikisiki mass murder are expected back in court today, where their trial gets underway. Now, yesterday, the men appeared in court where they pleaded not guilty. They face charges including conspiracy to commit murder, kidnapping, and robbery with aggravating circumstances. They were arrested following the deaths of 18 relatives in a village in Lusikisiki last year. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports from the Eastern Cape.
The families of the victims from the Lusikisiki massacre will get to hear some aspects of the brutal murders of their loved ones. They say they are expecting this trial to shed some light, particularly the reason why the 18 people were killed in such a brutal manner. The matter will be heard in the Mthatha High Court. However, it is sitting in the Lusikisiki Regional Court. This is so that the families do not travel a long distance to attend the trial. All accused Mzugi Sindamase, Siphosokolo Mayekethe, Aphiwe Ndende, Bonga Yinsa, Mawethu Nomdlwembu, and Songezovuma pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
Back in Joburg, 2 suspects have been arrested in Meyersdal after